Chapter 159. It was also at this moment that the Buddha's palm hit the sky reflecting mirror. In an instant, it was like a stone sinking into the ocean. Not good. The Buddha Emperor knew that he had been tricked. Just as he was about to attack again, a swastika appeared in the sky, reflecting mirror. What the hell is that? The Buddha Emperor's attack was reflected. Xiao Tiandi can reflect the Buddha Emperor's attack. The Buddha Emperor had no time to react at all, and the swastika had already hit him. Rumble. The sky exploded. There was a furious roar as the golden body shattered and the Buddha Emperor fell to the ground. Buddha Emperor. Protect the Buddha Emperor. Everyone in the hall gathered in a panic. Lin Xiao's figure descended again. With a wave of his hand, the silvery white power of the Grand Supreme swept across. It was comparable to the strongest sword aura and directly pierced through everyone in the hall. Lin Xiao stood in front of the Buddha Emperor. At this moment, the Buddha Emperor was severely injured and could not get up. It's been 33 years, but you haven't improved at all. Lin Xiao raised his hand. Unfortunately, you are no longer worthy of being my opponent. Just as he was about to attack, he suddenly frowned. The sky where Lin Xiao was standing suddenly turned dark. His figure suddenly disappeared. In an instant, a huge golden body stomped down and directly crushed the place where he was standing. Ayaya, I actually missed. Lin Yu stood on the Buddha golden body and said dejectedly, You don't look like someone who would save people. Lin Xiao slowly stepped forward. With every step, the power of the Grand Supreme was like a spider's silk that captured its prey and surrounded Lin Yu's golden body. As long as Lin Yu thought about it, the power of the Grand Supreme could instantly trap Lin Yu's golden body. After all, I have a deal with the Buddha Emperor. It's not good for you to kill him in front of me. Lin Yu smiled faintly and was helpless. Only the Buddha Emperor, who had escaped with his life, put his palms together. Amitabha, but he was cursing in his heart. What were you doing earlier? Lin Xiao stared at Lin Yu. Only you can stop me now, but can you really stop me? Lin Yu shook his head. I couldn't stop you. I couldn't stop you from the start. Lin Xiao came to a realization. You lied to me the previous 2 times? Don't you know that my main body specializes in deceiving people? Lin Yu's words seemed to have pierced his sore spot. Very soon, you won't be in your true form. Lin Xiao's white hair flew up, and the power of Grand Supreme and the heaven reflection mirror appeared behind him at the same time. At the same time, the battleships of the Wind Moon clan and the Yao clan broke through the clouds and landed. When Rumble saw how desperate the battle was, she immediately saw Lin Yu on top of the Buddha Karma medal. This is Golden Body. He is only at the samsara stage. How did he manage to cultivate a golden body? Rumble was shocked, but she also saw Lin Yu's opponent. That's the heaven-reflecting mirror, the instigator of the chaos in the southern border. Sir Lin is in danger. Xia Bing muttered. Rumble's storage ring flashed, and the 4 absolutes of wind and moon shot out at the same time. Lin Yu also saw the Wind Moon clan's battleship and sighed softly in his heart. If you came a little later, I'm afraid I would have to use my real trump card. Lin Yu already had the 4 absolutes of wind and moon in his hands. In addition to the drunken dream that Rumble gave him at the beginning, the 5 absolutes of wind and moon were in his hands. Seems like you're ready, come on. The corners of Lin Xiao's mouth curled up. Lin Yu's mouth also curled up. The battle between the 2 of them, who looked exactly the same, always gave people a strange feeling. Sir Lin, you can do it. Elder Chan was pushed back by the tomb bearers and spat out a big mouthful of blood, but he still couldn't help but shout. He knew that Lin Yu was now the only hope in this battle. Although he was very guilty in his heart, why did the survival of the southern border fall into the hands of a young man at the Samsara realm? What he was facing was the Grand Supreme stage, who was 3 major realms above him. High up in the sky, Lin Yu bit his right hand. Seeing that the heaven-reflecting mirror and the power of the Grand Supreme were about to descend, he formed a seal with both hands, and scarlet blood seeped out of his right hand. My name is Lin Yu. With the 4 absolutes and 5 absolutes, I'll borrow the southern border's nomological laws. Lin Yu instantly drew a blood talisman. Dream on. In his hand, the painted fairy painting flew out and fused with the blood talisman. The blood talisman instantly expanded a few hundred times. Drunken dream. Golden hook, silver stroke. 5 absolutes of wind and moon return. Lin Yu felt as if he was holding a 10,000-pound boulder. At this moment, the blood talisman was already as big as his Buddha golden body. Lin Yu activated his golden body and forcefully supported the blood talisman. At the same time, the 4 sacred swords shot into the sky and fused with the blood talisman. Azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, black tortoise. Lin Yu gritted his teeth. For directions, Starfield's guardian deities, I'll borrow your power. With that said, the blood talisman expanded a few hundred times and directly surpassed the heaven-reflecting mirror. Lin Xiu frowned. You actually have such power. Lin Yu knew that the time was ripe and raised his hands. 4 swords, 5 absolutes, God Killer Array rise. At this moment, he, in his golden body, supported the blood array that was as big as the sky. Below, Xianggu spat out a mouthful of blood. After defeating the southern wilderness, she was seriously injured and was supported by the 4 fairies at this moment. Patriarch, can young Master Lin win? Xiyu asked with difficulty. Looking up at Lin Yu under the God Killer array, Xiangji's pretty face was solemn. If even he can't win, then the southern border is finished. On the ground below, the Buddha Emperor stood up with difficulty and was protected by everyone in the temple. Let's retreat. With Benefactor Lin here, we can win this battle. The monk frowned. Buddha Emperor, even you are not a match for Heavenly Emperor Xiu. Although Benefactor Lin is cunning, his combat strength is also the best in the southern border. The Buddha Emperor muttered. With a God Killer array, Lin Yu is the best in the southern border. Above the sky, Lin Xiu also sensed a life and death crisis, especially when the array was formed and the southern border was in turmoil. At the same time, at the intersection of the southern and eastern border, a mountain broke through the sky and directly broke the enchantment between the 2 star fields. On top of the mountain, a python that was bigger than a star field crawled crazily and dragged the mountain towards the sword tribe. On the other side, at the intersection of the northern and southern border, a huge warship appeared. On the warship, a middle-aged man stood with his hands behind his back. He was dressed in cotton clothes and coarse pants. There was no fluctuation of glory aura, but he gave off a fierce feeling. It was as though he was an unsheathed sword. Behind a middle-aged man were hundreds of people from the forgotten immortal sect. Qingji and Yangqing were also among them. Let's speed up. The man looked at the southern border starfield and suddenly saw a terrifying force heading towards the sword tribe. He spoke slowly and sword aura spread out from his body, wrapping the entire warship in sword aura. In the starry sky, it was as though a huge sword aura broke through the sky and headed towards the sword tribe. At this moment, inside the sword tribe, Lin Yu had blood at the corner of his mouth, but he was extremely excited. You're afraid. He had already seen Lin Xiu's shocked expression. Chapter 160. Only at this moment did he feel that he was truly confident in defeating Lin Xiu. This opponent was too powerful. His speed was simply too fast. If you're afraid, you'll lose. Lin Yu closed his eyes and completely merged into the heaven-reflecting mirror. It was also at this moment that the power of 100 Grand Supreme gathered on the surface of the mirror at the same time and rushed towards Lin Yu. And above the God Slayer array, there was also a power even more terrifying than the power of a Grand Supreme. It seemed to come from outside the star field and was carried on the God Slayer array at this moment. This array specializes in killing Grand Supremes. Lin Yu's hands fell, and the God Slayer array trembled and moved towards the heaven-reflecting mirror. The sky rolled backward, the tall buildings collapsed, and the pressure of the entire Sword Race planet increased by 100 times. The tens of thousands of experts below all prostrated on the ground at this moment, as if they couldn't even resist a battle of this level. In the next moment, the two terrifying forces collided, and the sky of the sword race completely shattered, revealing the vast starry sky. At the same time, the heaven-reflecting mirror was also unable to withstand the power of the array at this moment and cracked. Finally, with a loud bang, the sound of shattering resounded throughout the entire sword race. Lin Yu spat out a mouthful of blood. His golden body dissipated, and his expression was dispirited, but he could still barely step in the air. In front of him, the Godslayer array had already dissipated, and so did the heaven-reflecting mirror. But Lin Yu's expression wasn't good. Heaven and earth dharma characteristic. Lin Xiu's voice came over, and the thousands of fragments of the heaven-reflecting mirror began to reassemble. 100 pieces. 1,000 pieces. The fragments gathered into the mirror frame. I lost a move, but you don't have a next move. Lin Xiu's voice was clearly extremely weak, but he still had the power of regeneration. The corners of Lin Yu's mouth curled up. A divine object is a divine object after all. After experiencing the battle of the Demon Emperor's divine senses, the battle of the Buddha Emperor, and transforming into a human, it still retains so much power. He touched his storage ring, and in an instant, a golden light shone brightly. Clang! The myriad Buddha mirror appeared in the air. Lin Yu sat cross-legged and muttered. When the Buddha Emperor saw this scene, his eyes widened. He can really activate the myriad Buddha mirror. But why does he even know the chant? The Buddha Emperor was in disbelief. However, he couldn't help but think about what Lin Yu did. Which step of his actions could be considered? Everything is empty. Everything returns to dust. Lin Yu spat out a mouthful of blood. He barely managed to support the myriad Buddha mirror. At this moment, Buddhist light covered the heaven-reflecting mirror. If it had been the heaven-reflecting mirror of the past, it would have been able to reflect the Buddhist light. But now, the heaven-reflecting mirror had shattered. Lin Yu would not give him the chance to regroup. As the Buddhist light swept past, it was completely absorbed by the countless fragments of the heaven-reflecting mirror. But at this moment, countless fragments erupted with the Buddhist light of the myriad Buddha's mirror. Around the heaven-reflecting mirror, millions of Buddhist lights swept chaotically, causing the heaven-reflecting mirror to shatter once again. Lin Yu heaved a sigh of relief. But at that moment, a mountain range came crashing down from the sky. What is that? Mountains. A mountain range formed by more than 70 mountains. What's that on a mountain? Everyone saw a 1,000-foot-long, 7-colored python coiled above the mountain range. At this moment, the python's vertical pupils fell on the heaven-reflecting mirror, and it spat out a breath. The power of the Grand Supreme. It's the Grand Supreme realm again. The breath fell and blocked the myriad Buddha mirror's light. At the same time, the heaven-reflecting mirror regrouped once again. Finally, it's here? Lin Yu smiled faintly and kept the myriad Buddha mirror. At this moment, the myriad Buddha mirror was useless. Below, the Buddha Emperor's eyes widened. Why are you here? Go back to your east. The python looked down at the ground. Buddha Emperor, long time no see. The Buddha Emperor stepped into the air and appeared beside Lin Yu. We're in big trouble. What's so troublesome about it? Lin Yu smiled coldly. The Buddha Emperor was even more shocked. But when he looked at Lin Yu's expression, he was even more shocked. You knew he would come? Lin Yu nodded. If I said he had colluded with the heaven-reflecting mirror, would you believe me? In the 100,000 years that he was trapped, Lin Yu had already discovered this secret. Hence, this opponent was more difficult to deal with than expected. The Buddha Emperor's eyes widened. 6 Paths Serpent Emperor. What are you trying to do? The Buddha Emperor's voice was also heard by the ascetic monk and the others. That python is one of the 3 emperors, the 6 Paths Serpent Emperor. Damn it, I'm only here to participate in the Ascension ceremony. Why are there always Grand Supreme realm battles? Complaints were heard everywhere. The 6 Paths Serpent Emperor stared at Lin Yu. You're the true body of the Celestial Emperor talent? Are you blind? Can't you see? Lin Yu pointed at his face. As soon as he said that, everyone's hearts tightened. Big brother, don't stir up trouble. If you anger the Six Paths Serpent Emperor, there will be another battle. Young Master Lin, stop talking. The Six Paths Serpent Emperor narrowed his eyes. Very well. It seems like you don't want to live anymore. Lin Yu smiled faintly and ignored the group of people who were begging him to stop talking. So what if I am? Even the Celestial Emperor's 100 strands of grand supreme power was shattered into tens of thousands of pieces by me. You stupid snake with 90 strands of grand supreme power? As soon as he said that, not only did the Six Paths Serpent Emperor's face turn serious, but even the Buddha Emperor twitched. Benefactor Lin, can you still use the God Killer Array? The Buddha Emperor's heart was filled with hope. No. Lin Yu's reply made the Buddha Emperor want to die. To be honest, I only have 10% of my strength left. The Buddha Emperor said Ba in a low voice. Lin Yu couldn't help but laugh and said loudly, So you only have 10% of your strength left? The Buddha Emperor's face changed. Benefactor Lin, how can you expose your weakness in front of the enemy? The Buddha Emperor cursed in his heart and said, It's over. The old Serpent Emperor will definitely attack without fear. Hearing the Buddha Emperor's complaints, Lin Yu didn't feel that he was wrong and said with disdain, Since you only have 10% of your strength left, then go away. I can deal with this stupid snake alone. The Buddha Emperor's face twitched when he heard that. This brat was so calm before. Why is he acting so crazy now? He couldn't tell what Lin Yu was up to, but he wasn't the only one who was panicking. Even the Six Paths Serpent Emperor was sizing up Lin Yu. Does this brat still have a trump card? Impossible. The sky reflecting mirror reassembled and appeared beside the Serpent Emperor. His aura was also weak. Even if he relied on the power of the divine item to revive, he had to pay a price. Something's wrong. The Serpent Emperor stared at Lin Yu. Although I can't see any flaws, his eyes are too calm. The moment he said that, Lin Yu took a step forward and appeared in front of him. At this moment, Lin Yu didn't have the God Killer Array and couldn't use the golden body for a short period of time. But he was standing in front of Lin Xiu. You've lost this game. How should I punish you? The corners of Lin Yu's mouth curled up as if he was judging Lin Xiu in a superior tone. Chapter 161. The latter's face was extremely gloomy. He was the supreme celestial emperor of cultivation. For out of the 8 clans were under his control. But in front of Lin Yu, he couldn't beat him 3 times. I don't believe you have a trump card. Stop pretending. Lin Xiu raised his hand and grabbed Lin Yu's throat. But at this moment, Lin Xiu's hand couldn't move an inch forward and stopped a foot away from Lin Yu's neck. Take me down and kill me. You can do it. Lin Yu killed him 3 times in a row, but Lin Xiu gritted his teeth. What's going on? Lin Yu smiled and turned away from Lin Xiu as he heaved a sigh of relief. The system's voice sounded in his mind. Host consumed 10 time space points and used time reversal successfully. Remaining time space points, 36. 6 million. After leaving the reset day, this was Lin Yu's second time using the power of time reversal. On one hand, it was because every step he took was under his control. On the other hand, his opponents weren't strong enough for him to use this power. But now, in the face of 2 Grand Supreme Stage Masters, he had no choice but to use it. All right, you guys can attack now. Lin Yu spread out his hands. At this moment, the Wind Moon Clan, Sword Clan, Buddha Hall, and Yao Clan were behind him. But Lin Xiu and Six Paths Snake Emperor didn't care about them. The only thing they were afraid of was Lin Yu. He still has something I don't know. Lin Xiu squinted his eyes. At that moment, he felt as though time had stopped. And because of that, he couldn't touch Lin Yu at all. Your talent comes from him. Don't tell me you didn't sense it at all? Six Paths Snake Emperor asked cautiously. Lin Xiu shook his head. No. At this moment, only Lin Yu remained calm. Even the Buddha Emperor, who was in the crowd behind him, was scared out of his wits. Lin Yu's move was arrogant. Even he couldn't see through it. The atmosphere was in a deadlock. After a few minutes, the Six Paths Serpent Emperor narrowed his eyes and said, We'll know if he still has a trump card after we try. With that, he opened his bloody mouth and roared towards the sky. Instantly, the airflow above the Sword Tribe was swept away. Lin Yu narrowed his eyes. Just as he was about to cast a second space-time reversal, he saw a huge warship breaking through the sky from the dome that had been broken through by the battle. On the warship, a middle-aged man seemed to raise his hand casually, but a sword aura fell from the sky. With a loud boom, it hit the Snake Emperor's position. Bang, bang, bang. The mountain range shattered, and the Snake Emperor let out a mournful howl. The first sword of the Emperor Gate has finally arrived. Lin Yu heaved a sigh of relief. But what he did not expect was that Qin Wunyan was also on the battleship. New Emperor of the North, you are still no match for us. Lin Xiu raised his head and looked at Qin Wunyan, but what made him even more fearful was the middle-aged man beside Qin Wunyan. As the warship landed, Qin Ji and the others rushed towards Lin Yu, not caring about the dangerous situation of facing two Grand Supremes. Greetings, young Sacred King. Everyone from the forgotten immortal sect knelt down in unison. Young Sacred King, didn't Lin Yu not belong to any sect? These are the sects of the North Territory. The current forgotten immortal sect had many more members than before. Lin Yu guessed that Qin Ji had not only unified the Hongmeng continent, but also expanded to the surrounding stars. Young Sacred King, we are here. Yang Qin came to Lin Yu's side. Greetings, Sect Master. Behind Lin Yu, Long Lin and Lu Wuhan, who had come from the Wind Moon clan, also stepped forward. Lin Yu even saw Qin Yi's figure in the warship. However, Qin Yi did not go forward. She did not have any combat strength and was worried that she would be a burden to Lin Yu. She only looked from afar and cheered for Lin Yu in her heart. Lin Yu knew that it was not the time to reminisce and immediately bowed to Yang Kai and Qin Wunyan. Emperor Gate's first sword, Lin Yu is terrified. Yang Kai glanced at Yang Qin and knew that Lin Yu seemed to have a very important position in his daughter's heart. He was also someone who had been through this before, so how could he not know? Southern Territory Sword Clan is in trouble. I can't just stand by and watch. Yang Kai turned and stared at the enraged Snake Emperor. But when Snake Emperor saw his gaze, his face was filled with fear. How could it be you, damn it, how could it be you? Six-Path's Snake Emperor actually retreated in fear at this moment. Emperor Gate's first sword was actually invited by him. We lost. Lin Xiu laughed at himself and looked at Lin Yu. Is this your trump card? From the moment Emperor Gate's first sword appeared, Lin Xiu knew that he had lost. But Lin Yu shook his head. This is the Southern Territory's trump card. Lin Yu turned and said, Chair, come and meet your Grandmaster. Sword Chi was taken aback. She felt a sense of familiarity with this middle-aged man. But when Yang Kai's gaze fell on Sword Chi, there was a look of reminiscence. That child, you're already so old. Lin Yu nodded. Back then, Jian Lingtian knew that his cultivation was crippled, so he asked your Grandmaster to bring you to North Territory's forgotten immortal sect in exchange for an opportunity for you to grow up safely. Sword Chi immediately knelt down. She finally knew how she went to forgotten immortal sect when she was only 5 years old. Your father was a kind child, what a pity. Yang Kai helped Sword Chi up and sighed softly. Child, your talent is not inferior to your father's. He was aware of Sword Saint's cultivation in Sword Chi. To be able to perfectly inherit Sword Saint's cultivation, you need at least 100 feet of ancestral bloodline. You did well. Sword Chi nodded with tears in her eyes. Yang Kai and Sword Chi did not say anything else. They took a step forward and appeared in front of Six Paths Snake Emperor. Snake Emperor, isn't it good to be alive? Yang Kai said coldly. Every word was like a sharp sword that pierced Six Paths Snake Emperor's heart. I don't dare anymore. Snake Emperor wanted to run away. Its huge body soared into the sky, leaving behind the mountain range. Yang Kai sighed softly. His body suddenly dissipated and turned into countless sharp Sword Chi that chased after Snake Emperor. Sword Chi said worriedly, Snake Emperor is a Grand Supreme Realm Master. Can Grandmaster do it? Lin Yu smiled faintly. The Emperor Gate star field is more powerful than the Four Directions star field. It is where the descendants of the 7 emperors of the Imperial era lived. One of the 7 emperors' sects, the Sword Emperor sect, had a genius in the Sword Tao 100 years ago. His talent in the sword Dao was known as the Emperor Gates #1 sword cultivator. He could never enter the Grand Supreme Realm, but he was able to fight against a Grand Supreme Realm Master at the Invincible Realm. Yang Qing's eyes shone. "Little Saint King, you even know about my father's past." Lin Yu smiled. "If I didn't know, how could I have taken you in from the beginning?" Yang Qing's face changed. "Little Saint King, please mind your words." She seemed to be blaming him, but there was no repulsion in her eyes. Lin Yu smiled. He also noticed that Yang Qing and Qin Ji's cultivation had broken through a lot under Yang Kai's guidance. Chapter 162. Soon, everyone saw a huge black shadow descending from the sky. Snake Emperor. The six-path Snake Emperor was cut in half. Yang Kai stood in the air. He did not use a sword at all. However, his entire being was the sharpest sword. The six-path Snake Emperor's eyes were still blinking, but he knew that the vitality in his body was fading. At this moment, Lin Yu walked over and stood in front of the Snake Emperor. He smiled gently. "Actually, if you had attacked me from the start, I would not have been able to resist." The Snake Emperor's eyes widened. "You lied to me." Lin Yu patted his head. The Snake Emperor was furious. He opened his mouth and swallowed Lin Yu whole. "Saint King, young master." Everyone jumped in fright at once, but they did not understand why Lin Yu would suddenly take the risk to approach the Snake Emperor. Even if he was dying, the Snake Emperor was still a grand supremacy. "Oh no!" Qin Ji, Xiangu, sword addict, Feng Yu, four fairies, Qin Yi, and dozens of other girls were all nervous. They wanted to save Lin Yu. Yang Kai narrowed his eyes and stood in front of them. Did this brat eat the six-path snake all? Yang Kai guessed. Based on Yang Qing and Qin Ji's description of Lin Yu and the fact that Lin Yu was fighting against Heavenly Monarch Xiao and the six-path Serpent Emperor, Zhong Yu might be able to scare them. Yang Kai immediately knew that this brat was stalling for time for them to come. Obviously, he succeeded. This was a guy who could rule the world. But now, Lin Yu could not do such a reckless thing in the face of the Six Paths Serpent Emperor's counterattack. "Wait." Yang Kai stopped the people behind him. "Father, the young Saint King." Yang Qing stepped forward anxiously. Yang Kai sighed in his heart. "After your mother passed away, I have not seen you care about me this much. But now, you care about Lin Yu." Yang Qing said angrily. "You don't care about me either, right?" His old face twitching, Kai Yang knew he had said the wrong thing. Was it wrong to mention his dead wife, or was it wrong to mention Lin Yu? Even Kai Yang himself wasn't clear. "Don't worry." Yang Kai pointed at the six-path Snake Emperor. "Old Snake Emperor, you're in even more pain now." Everyone looked over and saw the Six Paths Serpent Emperor roaring in pain. "Damn it, come out." The Snake Emperor let out a low roar, but there was nothing he could do. Even Lin Xiao watched all of this indifferently. "You've lost so thoroughly. Even the six-path Snake All was in your calculations?" As expected, a terrifying force broke through the Snake Emperor's body. At this moment, the six-path Serpent King stopped moving. He couldn't be any more dead. In the sky, Lin Yu sat down cross-legged. Behind him, a huge golden body of Buddha Karma sat cross-legged as well. Samsara realm golden body? Even Yang Kai was taken aback at this moment. What is a golden body? Yang Qing couldn't help but ask. At the side, Qin Wunyan coughed dryly. "I'm still unable to perfectly display the golden body." He was a Grand Supreme Realm expert, the new Emperor of the North Territory. Yang Kai nodded. 70 strands of Grand Supreme strength is required to perfectly display the golden body. But he's only at the Samsara realm. And Yang Kai could tell. Lin Yu's golden body was very powerful. But at the same time, a six-colored light flashed between the golden body's eyebrows. Lin Xiao squinted his eyes and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already in front of the golden body's eyebrows. "Impossible, you broke through just like that." Lin Yu's Grand Supreme strength erupted, wanting to kill Lin Yu. "Stop." Suddenly, a saber intent rose from the ground and slashed at Lin Xiao. Long Lin came with a saber. After absorbing 33 heavens, Long Lin had stepped into the transcendent realm, Three Suns realm. But Lin Xiao didn't even look at him. He waved his right hand casually, and the saber intent of the violent blade shattered, as though it was suppressed by space. Lin Xiao squinted his eyes and flicked his right finger. A scarlet bloodline directly pierced through Long Lin's heart. Long Lin's eyes widened, thinking that he was dead for sure. But he realized that the bloodline merged into his heart and didn't feel anything. Could it be? While his mind was shaken, a sword light swept towards Lin Xiao. It was so fast that it surpassed him by too much. Bang! Space cracked. Lin Xiao's heaven-reflecting mirror-true body was in front. While blocking the sword light, his figure suddenly burst out and smashed into the sword race bloodline gate. Yang Kai stood with his hands behind his back, the sword chi around his body connecting the world, like a peerless divine sword unsheathed. Emperor Gate's first sword, invincible Grand Supreme. The corners of Lin Xiao's mouth curled up. Interesting opponent. Yang Kai narrowed his eyes. You seem to be very similar to Lin Yu. So what? Yang Kai shook his head. But no one is the same in this world. Your talent is not inferior to his, but your strategy is lacking. I am Heavenly Emperor Xiao. Lin Xiao gritted his teeth as his white hair danced in the wind. But Yang Kai raised his hand. Look at the southern border, those who supported you, those who went against Lin Yu, what happened to them? Lin Xiao stood up from the ruins and looked around. The Nangong clan and the Imperial Beast clan were almost wiped out. The tomb bearers' stone coffins were shattered. Under the heaven and earth extinguishing rod, the strongest skull of the tomb bearers was also smashed by the little monkey. There was also the southern wilderness that he sent to encircle the Wind Moon clan. Now that the Wind Moon clan and the Yao clan had arrived at the same time, it was obvious that the southern wilderness had also been defeated. The War of the Eight Clans that he had been planning for many years was like a game with Lin Yu. But in this game, he lost completely. Lin Xiao turned back and looked at Lin Yu, who had already fused with the 6 snake galls. Sooner or later, I will defeat you. But the moment he opened his mouth, a law broke through the sky and enveloped Lin Xiao at an extremely fast speed. The teleportation light from this principle didn't seem to come from the southern border, but from an even more distant star field. Emperor Gate's teleportation light. Yang Kai's figure burst out. Between heaven and earth, everyone saw an azure divine sword rushing into the principle. Zheng, the Emperor Gate's first sword swept across, but the principle seemed to be indestructible. The moment the sword chi dissipated, it was completely unharmed. Lin Xiao's figure slowly rose from the principle. We can't let him go. Everyone from the southern border shouted in unison. Once Heavenly Emperor Xiao, who had caused chaos in the southern border, left and made a comeback in the future, the southern border wouldn't be able to withstand a second war with Heavenly Emperor Xiao. In an instant, all the cultivators above the Samsara realm erupted with glory chi and shot directly into the principle. Ants. A thunderous voice came from the principle. It was like a bolt from the blue, directly dispersing everyone's glory chi. It was also at this moment that everyone who attacked spat out a mouthful of blood. Law Realm Powerhouse. This is the guidance of a Law Realm Powerhouse. Everyone felt a sense of powerlessness. The strong were respected. A Law Realm Powerhouse wanted to take Lin Xiao away, even if he wasn't in the southern border star field and didn't descend with his true body. But a single principle was enough to shock everyone. Chapter 163. But in the starry sky, there was also a great demon that covered the sky. It was a huge Kuan Peng. On the Kuan Peng, a girl stood with her hands behind her back and came proudly. Who else could it be if not the girl riding the Kuan Peng? The girl riding the Kuan Peng looked down and saw Lin Yu and Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao, 100 supreme powers, conferred, 8th on the black list. Her voice echoed in all directions. Black list. The Buddha Emperor was shocked, of course, he knew what it meant. At the same time, the girl riding the Kuan Peng spoke again. Qin Wunyan, 63 supreme powers, originally 10th on the black list, dropped to 11th. Her voice was cold as if there was no emotion. But when she saw Lin Yu, there were some ripples in her eyes. At this moment, Lin Yu suddenly opened his eyes, and the golden body behind him also stood up at this moment. Use the Buddha nature to refine my spiritual sense. Use the demonic nature to refine my combat body. Use the Tao nature to refine my glory aura. Lin Yu's voice spread in all directions. At the same time, his glory aura, combat body, and spiritual sense all reached the critical point, and a breakthrough cyclone soared into the sky. Not only did everyone notice that his and his golden body's combat strength began to soar terrifyingly. Even the girl riding the Kuan Peng and Lin Xiu were equally shocked, especially the former, who was sitting on the Kuan Peng. Samsara realm golden body. How is this possible? But Lin Yu did it. Buddha Karma Tao body formed. The moment Lin Yu's last word fell, the huge golden body directly soared into the sky. His combat body, cultivation, and spiritual sense all stepped into the transcendent realm at the same time. At the same time, Lin Yu raised his right hand, and the golden body also raised its right hand, punching towards the law teleportation array. Take my punch. Lin Yu's mouth curled up, and the huge golden body punched out, directly smashing on the law light pillar. Boom! The ground where Lin Xiu was suddenly cracked, and the sky cracked. The law light pillar also shook violently. However, Lin Yu's punch did not stop there. Instead, in a distant star region, within a cold, blood-red forest, an old man suddenly opened his eyes. I'll remember this punch. Although he wasn't injured, Lin Yu had used all his strength to land this punch on his face. The teleportation array above the sword race was not destroyed, but Lin Xiu spat out a mouthful of blood. He glared at Lin Yu and disappeared from the sword race. He had also completely disappeared from the southern border. The girl riding the Kuan narrowed her eyes. She had only sensed the appearance of a new Grand Supreme Realm expert in the southern border through a special method. However, he did not expect that the teleportation light from the Emperor Gate starfield would descend. Who could it be? This power of laws was at least the second firmament of laws. She frowned and turned to look at Lin Yu. Looks like the Emperor's Gate's people have already infiltrated the four-direction starfield. Lin Yu smiled from afar. Didn't it infiltrate long ago? In the end, there were people who couldn't help but break the alliance agreement from back then. The girl riding the Kuan seemed to be very dissatisfied with Lin Yu's words. I'm different. Lin Yu shook his head and looked at the girl riding the Kuan meaningfully. The Zither Emperor is the supervisor of the alliance agreement, but the descendant of the Zither Emperor is also not competing. You are not allowed to slander the Zither Emperor's Gate. The girl riding the Kuan said angrily and immediately turned to leave. If you have the ability, come to the Emperor Gate, Starfield, and fight. The Kuan Peng had already left. Lin Yu heaved a sigh of relief and closed his eyes. He fainted. Qin Ji and the others immediately caught him. Father, how is the little Saint King? Yang Qing asked. Yang Kai checked Lin Yu's pulse. He's dead. Everyone was shocked, and the atmosphere froze. Hee, I was joking. Yang Kai smiled faintly. He was almost killed by the resentful gazes of these women. Even the Emperor Gate's first sword couldn't withstand so many women. He's just exhausted. I guess that Lin, you can only use that punch once before he's so weak. Yang Kai explained. However, he was extremely shocked. If he didn't see wrongly, that punch shattered the void and directly hit the body of a Law Realm expert. When Lin Yu woke up, he felt refreshed. After reaching the Transcendent Realm, the fusion of the three essences in one realm was even more perfect. Previously, he couldn't resist the power of the golden body and needed to find Qiu Lingshan at any time. At this moment, he suppressed a lot. The sun is so good. Lin Yu opened the door and bathed in the sunlight. His body had endless strength. If he didn't deliberately slow down the speed of his breakthrough in order not to affect his martial arts foundation, Lin Yu could be stronger now. However, on the path of cultivation, haste makes waste. Lin Yu knew this better than anyone. Furthermore, he knew how to make his cultivation different from others. The little Saint King is awake. Lin Yu stayed in the Sword Tribe's guest hall. At this moment, Qin Ji's voice came from outside the hall. Lin Yu turned around and saw Qin Ji and Yang Qing at the same time. However, when the two saw Lin Yu, their hearts couldn't help but tighten. They only felt that Lin Yu had a fatal attraction to women. The little Saint King's realm has become stronger again. Yang Qing couldn't help but say. Facing Lin Yu, she always felt a terrifying and stimulating masculine power. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Yes, I broke through to the transcendent realm. His breakthrough was different from others. The power he needed was much greater. Others only broke through one of the three elements. However, Lin Yu broke through his divine sense, battle physique, and glory chi together. It was so difficult that it couldn't be compared to what Lu Wuheng said before. He had only seen it in ancient books. Congratulations, little Saint King. Yang Qing bowed and smiled. Her longing for Lin Yu was beyond words. However, Lin Yu saw Qin Ji lowering her head. What's wrong? Is the sect master unhappy to see me break through? Lin Yu raised the corner of his mouth and said tentatively. Qin Ji was stunned, happy. However, her face was slightly flushed. When she remembered that she promised Lin Yu that she would satisfy him when she reached the transcendent realm, Qin Ji felt extremely ashamed. How's the sword tribe? Lin Yu seemed to have forgotten about this matter. He didn't seem to have any impression of it and changed the topic. Qin Ji heaved a sigh of relief. However, she felt a sense of loss in her heart. Seeing that Qin Ji didn't answer, Yang Qing responded to Lin Yu on her behalf. Now, the sword tribe is almost done. She has become the new sword lord. With her leadership and the assistance of the 13th elder, everything is in order. Yang Qing cupped her fists and added a few more words. The people of the Wind Moon clan and the Yao clan also helped a lot. The Wind Moon clan's clan leader Yao Go was injured. I heard that the Wind Moon clan was also heavily injured. The Medicine clan provided a large amount of elixirs for the injured. However, there were too many injured in the south. The Medicine clan's new clan leader, Xia Bing, ordered the entire Medicine clan to refine elixirs. They should have returned to the Medicine clan by now. Lin Yu was surprised. How long have I slept? Chapter 164. 1 month. Qin Ji finally came back to her senses. The situation outside has stabilized within this month. The only thing left is the injuries of the participants. It will take some time. As for the Buddha Hall and the Buddha Emperor, they have already left the sword race. The Buddha Emperor asked Little Sacred King to return the myriad Buddha mirror to him when you have time. Lin Yu could not help but laugh. This old monk. I helped him so much, and he still wants to bicker with me about the myriad Buddha mirror? Lin Yu thought that it was impossible to return it. Anything else? Qin Ji shook her head. Nothing else. Everyone is waiting for Little Sacred King to wake up. Lin Yu blinked. The more he looked at Qin Ji, the more seductive she became. Sect Master, did I forget something? Qin Ji's neck turned red. No, nothing. Lin Yu could not be bothered to probe further. I have something for you. Little Sacred King, it's not convenient here. What's not convenient? Lin Yu touched his storage ring. If I say it's convenient, then it's convenient. In the next moment, countless glory bait, skills, pills, and treasures flew out from his storage ring. Little Sacred King, the entire 1,000 feet wide guest hall was filled up in an instant. This is the capital. I need to build a force in the Emperor's Gate. I've been collecting them for a long time. Is it enough? Lin Yu asked. Yang Qing and Qin Ji were shocked. Little Sacred King, you want to go to the Emperor's Gate Starfield? Yang Qing asked. Her heart tightened. She and Qin Ji had just caught up to Lin Yu's footsteps. Could it be that they were going to be left behind again? Lin Yu nodded. The Four-Direction Starfield is just a small place. This time, there are people from the Emperor's Gate behind this matter. Of course, I'm sure that they want the power of the divine item. Lin Yu rubbed his chin and said, during the Battle of the 9 Great Emperors, the demon monarch obtained the whereabouts of the heavenly reflection mirror, which led to a massacre by the other great emperors. Now, the demon monarch no longer has any descendants, and Qi Tiandi is unable to continue his lineage. There are only 7 great Emperor sects left in the monarch star field. But in these Emperor sects, there are actually people who know about the heaven-reflecting mirror and Lin Xiao, and can even take him away at the critical moment. Lin Yu felt that things were getting more and more interesting. Looks like my previous guess was right. That idiot demon emperor was tricked by someone. He's not the only one who knows about the heaven-reflecting mirror's location. The 2 women were confused. They couldn't understand the experts of the Imperial era at all. The only thing they could understand was that Lin Yu was going to the Imperial Gate Starfield to expand his influence. Since Kai Yang has already left the mountain, help me ask him. If possible, he will be the leader of this trip, Lin Yu said to Yang Qing. Yang Qing was stunned. Isn't the little holy king coming with us? Lin Yu shook his head. I'm going to the Yao clan to refine some pills. You 2 go with Yang Kai first. The 2 women looked at each other. It seems that the little holy king has an idea. The 2 women went to make the arrangements. After Lin Yu ate the breakfast prepared by Sword Addict, Qin Yi came over. You're finally awake. Qin Yi's beautiful eyes were filled with tears as she hugged Lin Yu tightly. I missed you so much. I was so worried about you. Lin Yu stroked her hair. It's okay, I'm fine. Qin Yi raised her head. I wanted to see you early in the morning, but I didn't dare to disturb you when I saw that Mother and Elder Yang wanted to talk to you. I heard from Mother that you're bringing us to the Emperor Gate Starfield. Lin Yu nodded. Qin Yi had always been very obedient. That's right. We let Heavenly Emperor Xiao go this time. Instead of waiting for him to find trouble with the North and South territories, it's better to take the initiative. Lin Yu had never been a person who liked to defend. Moreover, I've already raised a little money. Lin Yu smiled faintly. He felt that his wealth was definitely raised voluntarily by everyone and not cheated. I heard from Mother that you have 30 billion dazzling baht. You're really amazing. After Qin Yi finished speaking, she tiptoed and whispered in Lin Yu's ear. I know you have something even more amazing. Can he see it? The 2 didn't enter the big room. Qin Yi bit her lower lip tightly. Brother Yu, do you still remember those saintesses? Lin Yu nodded. Of course I remember. Those were pitiful women whose fates were decided by the 7 Yi Demon Emperor since they were young. Qin Yi smiled faintly. I've trained them well. They're just waiting for you to enjoy them. Lin Yu blinked. You don't have much experience. How can you train them? Have I been cuckolded? What do you mean by cuckolded? It means you found another man. Qin Yi's pretty face was slightly angry. You're so naughty. Yi swore that she would never let another man touch me. Then how did you train them? I would secretly think of you every night. And then, while the 2 of them were entangled, a violent roar came from where the people of the forgotten immortal sect were staying. Long Lin was sweating profusely and gritting his teeth. His painful expression made it seem as if he had lost his mind. He shut the door and locked himself in the room. Kill Lin Yu. A series of cold orders came and echoed in Long Lin's mind. At the same time, there was a sharp pain in his heart. At this moment, scarlet threads could be seen moving and twisting around Long Lin's heart. It was as if they were strangling Long Lin's heart. You'll never win against the little holy king. Blood seeped from the corner of Long Lin's mouth, but he still gritted his teeth. However, the moment he opened his mouth, he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Old Long, why are you hiding in a room? The little holy king wants us to prepare for the Emperor's Gate. Lu Wuhan's voice came from outside the door. However, for a long time, there was no response from Long Lin. What's going on? Lu Wuhan had a bad feeling in his heart. If you don't speak, I'll come in. Don't be shy if you see something you shouldn't see. Lu Wuhan teased a few times, but there was still no response. He sighed softly, pushed the door open, and entered. However, a saber intent came out. Lu Wuhan's pupils dilated, and the phoenix spear instantly appeared in his hand. With a clang, the phoenix spear and the saber intent collided, and Lu Wuhan took a few steps back. Old Long, you're crazy. He saw that Long Lin's eyes were flashing with blood, and his black hair was fluttering. He didn't seem to be listening to him at all. Old Long, what's wrong with you? Lu Wuhan knew that there was something wrong with Long Lin. However, in the next moment, Long Lin slashed dozens of times with the saber intent. Lu Wuhan resisted with all his strength and dissolved the saber intent. But Long Lin kicked him, and Lu Wuhan fainted on the spot. Kill Lin Yu. In Long Lin's mind, there was a voice that echoed like a death sentence. He stepped forward step by step. In the guest hall, Lin Yu covered the tired Qin Yi with a quilt. He walked out of the room alone. He was ready to bid farewell to the others and head to the Yao clan. However, as soon as he came out, he saw Long Lin walking over. His eyes were scarlet, and the dragon scale saber in his hand was extremely sharp. His whole body was filled with killing intent. Chapter 165. Lin Yu furrowed his brows slightly. He also noticed Long Lin's chest. Trouble. When did he get hit by the blood-refining heart? Long Lin had yet to reach Lin Yu. In the sky, Qin Ji and Jian Shi, the two sect masters, had already sensed something and instantly attacked Long Lin. Elder Long, why did you injure Elder Lu? Sect master, something's wrong with Elder Long. Jian Shi narrowed his eyes. When he landed, he wanted to stop Long Lin, but the other party had already attacked. Between the changes in the blade intent, dozens of blades shot out. Long Lin was actually stronger than usual in this state. Jian Shi waved his hand, and the cold air in front of him turned into an ice wall. The blade intent hit the ice wall and made clanging sounds. More and more people gathered. Jian Shi had no intention of hurting him, but Long Lin seemed to have lost his mind and bypassed the ice wall, heading straight for Lin Yu. Young Master, Saint Monarch, Jian Shi, and Qin Ji were worried about Lin Yu and were about to attack when they saw Lin Yu raise his hand. It's fine. After saying that, he stood with his hands behind his back and did not make any preparations to block Long Lin's attack. Qin Wunyan, Yang Kai, and the others also rushed over. But they also saw Lin Yu not letting them attack. Kill Lin Yu! Long Lin roared, and the blade in his hand suddenly fell, directly chopping down on Lin Yu's head. If your Dao heart is so weak, then I'm really disappointed. Lin Yu's cold voice sounded. He still did not move. Everyone's hearts were in their throats. But at this moment, the dragon scale blade was a foot away from Lin Yu's head and did not fall. Long Lin gritted his teeth. Sir Saint Monarch. His hands trembled as if he was trying to control his mind. But at the same time, scarlet blood burst out from his heart and directly penetrated it. Kill Lin Yu. A voice sounded. Lin Xiu, it's Lin Xiu. What did Celestial the Arch-Xiu leave in Elder Long's body? Long Lin and Lin Yu looked at each other. Lin Yu's words made him sober up. The next moment, the dragon scale saber flew out of his hand. He steeled his heart and slashed at the falling saber with both hands. Hiss! Blood dripped everywhere. Elder Long. The people from the Forgotten Celestial sect immediately rushed forward and saw that Long Lin had severed his own arms. Sage Kings cannot be killed. Long Lin fell to the ground. No matter how much the blood sacrifice heart refinement was tormenting him, his hand was already broken. He could no longer pick up the saber. Is it worth it? Lin Yu squatted down and asked Dragon Scale. The little holy king is the hope of the Forgotten Celestial sect. You cannot kill him. Long Lin's face gradually turned pale, and his lips were already devoid of blood. If one day I'm no longer the hope of the Forgotten Immortal sect, then you can kill me. Lin Yu looked at Long Lin as if he was looking into Long Lin's heart. Still, you can't kill him. Long Lin's gaze was firm. Lin Yu smiled. Prepare a room for me. Okay. Sword Fanatic immediately went to do it personally. Lin Yu naturally couldn't bring Long Lin back to his room. After all, Qin Yi was still asleep. Perhaps Qin Yi was hiding behind the door right now. She was just worried that someone would see her and Lin Yu wouldn't be able to explain the matter between her and him. Otherwise, she would have rushed out long ago to check on the situation. Soon, Sword Fanatic and Lin Yu sent Long Lin into a room. You guys can leave first. Lin Yu said, do you want to prepare some pills? Qin Ji asked Lin Yu. She knew that Lin Yu had given all the resources to her to establish a new force. She was worried that Lin Yu wouldn't be able to save Long Lin. There's no need for anything. Go out. Lin Yu spoke again. Qin Ji, Sword Fanatic, and the others didn't dare to say anything else. Since Lin Yu had already made his decision, he naturally had his reasons. The door gradually closed. Lin Yu saw that Long Lin had already fainted. Although his hands were broken, his life wasn't in danger. However, a saber cultivator who lost his hands would feel worse than taking his life. However, Long Lin made his choice and broke his hands for Lin Yu. He still felt warm in his heart. Lin Yu pressed Long Lin's hands. Space-time reversal. As soon as he said that, the system's voice sounded in his mind. Host consumed 3 space-time points. Space-time reversal was successful. Remaining space-time points, 3,000. As the system's voice sounded, Long Lin's hands seemed to go back in time and recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. His complexion also improved a lot in an instant. Lin Yu knew that Long Lin was about to wake up and pressed his hand on Long Lin's chest. The blood sacrifice heart refinement can't be undone, but if space-time is reversed, Host consumed 700 space-time points. Space-time reversal was successful. Remaining space-time points, 3,000. Lin Yu sighed in his heart. If this kid had told me earlier, he wouldn't have dragged it out for so long. My heart aches. Lin Yu stared at the blood sacrifice heart refinement in his hand that was expelled because of the space-time reversal. The time in Long Lin's chest had returned to the moment before the blood sacrifice heart refinement. Little Holy King. Long Lin opened his eyes and immediately felt that his hands were as nimble as before. He jumped off the bed in shock. On the table in the room, the dragon scale saber flew toward him like a claw. Little Holy King, my hands? Lin Yu smiled faintly. If you can break your own hands for me, I can naturally reattach them. Long Lin's eyes widened. But this doesn't look like it's reattached. Long Lin scratched his wrist. It's like a reset of my arm. You can see through it, but don't say it. Lin Yu glanced at him. He still wanted to keep a low profile on this matter. That was why he sent everyone away. However, Long Lin was the beneficiary. He could naturally feel the feeling of his arms being reset. Just like when he was trapped on the same day and woke up, everything was reset. Long Lin looked at Lin Yu meaningfully and clasped his fists. Holy King saved Long Lin's life. Holy King's secret. Long Lin will bring it into the coffin. Lin Yu smiled faintly. It's not that serious. What life-saving grace. Although in Long Lin's eyes, his hands were his life. Actually, I'm a low-key person and don't have any secrets. Long Lin nodded. I understand. There are no secrets. After saying that, he directly laid down on the bed again. What are you doing? Lin Yu was puzzled. Was this guy still not fully recovered? That's not right. Long Lin lay down and clasped his fists. If I go out now, it will definitely arouse everyone's suspicion. Lie down for a month. Long Lin won't meet anyone. I didn't think of that. Lin Yu looked at him with interest. You usually don't talk, but you have a lot of thoughts. Long Lin looked apologetic and thought of something. Holy King, please help me check on old Lu. Don't worry. Lin Yu smiled. Before I came in, Sword Maniac and Qinji had already told me that Lu Wuhan is fine. Don't worry. Long Lin heaved a sigh of relief. Lin Yu walked out of the room, thinking that Long Lin was wrong to do this. But didn't he make himself less powerful? Forget it. Let's keep a low profile. Chapter 166. Lin Yu looked at the blood sacrifice heart refinement in his hand. It was a scarlet blood thread that appeared in his hand, floating and wriggling. Holy King, is this what Lin Xiu hit my heart with? Long Lin subconsciously touched his chest. He still had some lingering fear. Even if he could break his hand in exchange for a moment of clarity, it did not mean that he was not afraid of this thing. Blood sacrifice heart refinement. A goo refined from one's own bloodline. Very interesting. The corners of Lin Yu's mouth curled up. He exerted force in his hand and crushed the blood thread in his hand. At this moment, in the blood forest in the Emperor Gate Star Field, Lin Xiu suddenly felt a sharp pain in his heart and actually spat out a mouthful of blood. Impossible. His pupils dilated, naturally knowing what it was. His blood sacrifice heart refinement could not be removed except for him. But why was it not only removed, but it also backfired on him? Heaven reflecting mirror. Focus on comprehending the power of this old man's law. In front of him, a red-haired old man sat cross-legged. He did not speak, but ventriloquism was still transmitted. In the sword race, Lin Yu smiled faintly. When he walked out of the door, Qin Ji and the others had already come forward. Holy King, how is Elder Long? Qin Ji asked immediately. He should be fine after lying down for a few days. By the way, did Yang Kai agree? Qin Ji nodded and smiled gently. With Elder Yang's request, Uncle Yang will definitely agree. Although Uncle Yang agreed to help us form a new force in the Emperor Gate, he hopes that little Holy King will not be outside for too long. He asked you to come back early to organize the situation. Lin Yu smiled faintly. He guessed that Yang Kai had accompanied his beloved wife for so many years and was probably not used to the current lively scene. He's worried that I'll lose my stall and let others run away, right? It's good that Holy King knows. Lin Yu shook his head helplessly. Long Lin will be fine in a few days. Forget it. Let him lie down for a month. When you leave, carry him onto the warship. Qin Ji nodded. They had witnessed Long Lin's injury with their own eyes, and it was indeed very serious. If Elder Long can recover in a month, Holy King is truly a divine doctor. Qin Ji said in admiration. Lin Yu stroked his chin. He thought that Long Lin's thinking was right. If he were to run out now, he would probably really scare these people. Make some arrangements. I'm going to the Yao clan. You guys should set off as soon as possible. Qin Ji nodded and added, Young Master Qin will also come with us. Currently, Grand Venerable Shumi is in charge of the North Territory. Sure, with Qin Munyan's ability, he naturally would not be willing to stay in the four-way starfield, especially after seeing a law realm expert. Given Lin Yu's understanding of Qin Munyan, he had naturally anticipated this day. Qi will follow as well. Qin Ji said again. Sword Fanatic blushed. Grandmaster said that he would bring Fanatic out to broaden her horizons. Lin Yu certainly wouldn't refuse these people to help him. Lin Xiao must be in contact with the others in Emperor's Gate. He might even form a new force. I want to win against him. Lin Yu said. Qin Ji and Sword Fanatic cupped their fists at the same time. The dozens of Wang Xian's sect disciples behind them who were waiting for Long Lin's news also knelt down at the same time. Sacred King will win. After Lin Yu arranged everything, he boarded the warship and headed to the Yao race. But as soon as he left the sword race's territory, he encountered the Wind Moon race's warship. Young Master. Shi bowed and greeted him on the warship. Lin Yu raised his brows. You guys are waiting for me? The Wind Moon Immortals appeared on the warship at the same time, but there was no one else. Lin Yu couldn't help but recall the days when he and the four immortals were on the warship. Shi nodded. The Patriarch invited Young Master to meet her. I heard that Young Master intends to head to the Emperor's Gate starfield. Lin Yu smiled. Seems like the Wind Moon race has arranged people in the sword race. You actually found out so quickly? Shi's face changed slightly and bowed. Please forgive me, Young Master Lin. Forget it. Let's see what Yao Ge wants. Lin Yu steered the warship. For hours later, he felt bored and said to the warship next door, I'm a bit tired. Is there anyone who can help me steer the ship? The four immortals looked at each other. Tian Xen, you go. Shi said. Tian Xen nodded, but Xiao Lingshan said, I just happen to want to ask Young Master about the Golden Hook Silver Stroke. I'll go. Shi nodded. Tian Xen didn't argue. Lin Yu saw Xiao Lingshan come to his ship. Lingshan is here to help Young Master steer the ship. After she bowed, she leaned on the steering wheel of the warship with one hand. Were you forced to come, or did you come willingly? Lin Yu smiled meaningfully. Xiao Lingshan blushed. Willingly. Lingshan wants Young Master to treat her illness. The other three immortals couldn't see where the steering wheel was, but Lin Yu saw Xiao Lingshan squatting down, outlining her sexy curves. He chuckled softly and leaned forward. 6 hours later, they arrived at the Wind Moon clan. Lin Yu looked down at Xiao Lingshan. You've improved a lot this time. Xiao Lingshan looked away and swallowed. Thank you, Young Master. Young Master, let's go in. Shi Yu and the others only saw Lin Yu poking his head out, but didn't see Xiao Lingshan. They felt strange. Okay. Lin Yu nodded. They didn't ask any more questions. Lin Yu walked straight into the Wind Moon tree and couldn't help but bow. Young Master, she didn't understand. Could it be that young Master thinks our Wind Moon tree is very beautiful? Su Feng guessed. Lin Yu shook his head. His eyes showed his memories of history. A long time ago, the Wind Moon Grand Sage comprehended the great Tao under this Wind Moon tree and comprehended the Wind Moon 5 absolutes. You can take a look at this tree when you have time. He had only said a few words casually, but it stunned the 4 fairies. Shiyu, on the other hand, had heard Lin Yu talk about the Wind Moon Grand Sage for the first time. She wasn't as shocked as the other 3 fairies. Young Master is also very familiar with the history of the Wind Moon clan. Shiyu praised. I've never seen anyone whose knowledge can compare to Young Master's. She recalled Lin Yu's sentence. Peach blossom immortals in the depths of the peach forest. A cup of sake envies the saints. It still made her forget to leave. Su Feng also thought of this. Young Master's talent is also unparalleled. Lin Yu smiled faintly. If you keep flattering me, I'm afraid Yuinga will be impatient. The 4 fairies looked at each other and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. They sent Lin Yu into the Wind Moon headquarters. Along the way, Lin Yu also saw the devastation and could only sigh in his heart. The battle between the Southern Wilderness and the Wind Moon clan a month ago seemed to have caused quite a lot of damage to the Wind Moon clan. Lin Yu stepped across the small bridge and the flowing water. Yuinga was already sitting on the stone platform waiting for Lin Yu. She didn't lie on the bed lazily like the previous 2 times. Young Master Lin, Yuinga didn't go out to welcome you. Please forgive me. Yuinga stood up and bowed slightly. Lin Yu smiled. Seeing Yuinga toast a cup of wine, he took it and sat down. Lin Yu is a little disappointed that I didn't get to see clan leader Yuinga's charm in bed. Chapter 167. Yao Ji's fair fingers slid back and forth on the wine cup as she smiled. Young Master Lin, with your mouth, I wonder how many women will die in your hands in the future. Lin Yu drank a cup of wine. The fragrance permeated the air, pure but not greasy. The real virgin wine. Looks like Elder Yao Ge has brewed it again. Seeing that Lin Yu was trying to change the topic, Yao Ge played along and said, during the Wind Moon gathering, Young Master Lin pointed out the problem with my wine. I learned from my mistakes and began to brew a new one for Young Master. Lin Yu nodded in satisfaction and raised his brows. This woman seemed to be unhappy with his mouth. He immediately teased. This wine is much better than last time. Did Elder Yao Ge brew it herself? Yao Ge nodded without hesitation. I brewed it myself. Is there a problem? She even drank a cup herself and shook her head. There's no problem. Lin Yu pressed down on her cup. Don't you find it strange that you brewed your own virgin wine? Yao Ge frowned. She didn't understand what Lin Yu meant. But when she thought of the process of brewing the virgin wine, she immediately rolled her eyes at Lin Yu. Young Master, what are you talking about? Be serious. Yao Ge rebuked. She really didn't know what to do with Lin Yu. Even though she was the leader of the Wind Moon clan and had a casual nature, she had never been touched by a man before. Now that Lin Yu was teasing her, she couldn't resist at all. Yao Ge sat up straight. Okay, let's talk about business. I invited Young Master here for 2 things. Lin Yu raised his hand, indicating for her to continue. The 5 beauties of Wind and Moon are still in Young Master's hands. Can you return them? Lin Yu smiled. Why don't you talk about the second question? Yao Ge frowned slightly. Did Young Master guess it again? Lin Yu didn't hide anything. Zither Fairy once said that clan leader Yao Ge received some news, so she invited Lin Yu here. Xianggu wanted Shiyu to tell her, so Lin Yu didn't have to hide it. Not bad. I'm also interested in the Emperor Gate Starfield. Lin Yu didn't say anything. Yao Ge pursed her lips. As long as Young Master agrees to let the Wind Moon clan participate in the Emperor Gate Starfield, the Wind Moon 5 absolutes can be left behind. This sentence was out of Lin Yu's expectations. He raised his eyebrows and smiled. You're willing to give up your current position? Yao Ge was already mentally prepared. As long as the Wind Moon clan can participate, Yao Ge is willing to assist Mr. Lin. It seems that clan leader rumor is more far-sighted than I thought. Yao Gu observed the changes in Lin Yu. If it was someone with a slightly weaker state of mind, they would definitely feel proud of her words. After all, to be able to obtain the assistance of one of the 8 clans, the Wind Moon clan's clan leader, was something that was almost impossible for a transcendent realm cultivator. However, Lin Yu's performance was very ordinary. It was as ordinary as Yao Ji's decision to submit was within reason. Lin Yu gave Yao Gu a feeling that he had the confidence to surpass the Wind Moon clan. Does young Master Lin agree? Even if he agrees, he should collect some interest. Lin Yu approached Yao Gu, his clan leader Yao Gu. Right. I've already given you the Wind Moon 5 absolutes. What else do you want? I want you. Lin Yu whispered into Yao Ji's ear. Yao Gu was so frightened that she closed her eyes. She clearly saw Lin Yu's combat strength. Lin Yu was able to use the golden body power that only Grand Supreme Realm cultivators could master. Furthermore, Lin Yu had the God Slayer formation. If he used force, Yao Gu knew that she wouldn't be able to resist. For the Wind Moon clan, I hope young Master Lin will keep his promise. Yao Ji's bright eyes were tightly shut. She only felt Lin Yu's slender but powerful hand brushing past her shoulder. Bad guy. Under Yao Ji's eyelids, her bright eyes trembled. However, Lin Yu directly placed his hand on her shoulder. I have other things to do now. Bring the people to the Sword Clan first. They should be preparing to depart. Yao Gu heaved a sigh of relief. So he wasn't going to do anything to her? Why? You don't think that I'm going to do anything to you, right? Lin Yu suddenly touched her sore spot. Yao Gu glanced at him. Just as she was about to refute, Lin Yu didn't give her any chance. Don't be silly. I treat you as my brother. Go. Yao Gu was furious. She grabbed Lin Yu's hand. No, the others can gather at the Wind Moon clan. I want to follow you. Are you afraid that I'll run away? Lin Yu asked. Yao Gu nodded. The 5 beauties of Wind Moon are with you. Do I have to follow you? Lin Yu was helpless. It's easy for people to misunderstand. I'm a girl, and I'm not afraid. What are you afraid of? Didn't you say that you're my brother? After hearing that, Lin Yu almost spat out blood. This woman is interesting. He couldn't help but praise her. In the 100,000 years that he was trapped, he had used many methods and finally obtained Yao Gu. However, at that time, he only understood her body. Now, Lin Yu felt that this woman's soul was very interesting. I only cared about their bodies in the past. It's still a little superficial. Lin Yu finished his self-reflection. Yao Gu arranged for the people of the Wind Moon clan to start heading to the Sword Clan. Lin Yu understood Yao Ji's thoughts. In the Battle of the Grand Supreme Realm, he had already shown his combat strength. In this world, the strong were respected. Anyone would have an instinctive sense of belonging to someone stronger than them. Especially since the relationship between Lin Yu and the Wind Moon clan was considered peaceful. The Wind Moon clan submitting to Lin Yu's forces to pursue a stronger future was a very smart thing to do. In addition, the southern border was already riddled with holes after the battle. Not to mention the southern border, the eastern border had lost the 6-path Snake Emperor. Without the 3 emperors, the eastern border was destined to be unified by the northern and southern border. Yao Gu didn't want to be involved in this kind of war again. Of course, she didn't know that the northern emperor, Qin Wunyan, was now in Lin Yu's team. After Lin Yu opened the passage to the Emperor's Gate with his sword, they began to move towards it. This team was majestic. There were a total of 100 warships, accommodating close to 100,000 people. Those who had submitted to the forgotten immortal sect from the Hongmeng continent, the Sword Clan, the Wind Moon clan, Qin Wunyan, and the accompanying people from Blue Sky's Supreme Pure Palace. Along the way, the 4 fairies played the zither and painted for fun, adding a lot of fun to the group. This trip was led by Qin Ji and Yang Kai. Yang Kai's combat strength could rival a Grand Supreme Realm cultivator, and he was the descendant of the Sword Emperor of the Emperor's Gate. Naturally, he could lead them. Qin Wunyan was also one of the main forces here. However, they were temporarily under Qin Ji's command, because Qin Ji now represented Lin Yu, and she was rich. In the sky above the Medicine Clan, Lin Yu and Yao Ji's warship descended. Young Master Lin, are you here to refine pills? Of course. Lin Yu nodded. If I remember correctly, the birthday of a big shot from the Emperor's Gate is coming soon. Chapter 168. Xiangge was stunned. Are you from the Emperor's Gate? Of course not. I just heard about it by chance. Xiangge was surprised. She had heard about the birthday of a big shot from the Emperor's Gate. This was the Four Directions Starfield. Who else would know about the Emperor's Gate Starfield? Xiangge was confused, but she could see that Lin Yu did not want to answer, so she did not ask further. Seeing this, Lin Yu smiled. Smart women were always likable. Yu Mingwen must have felt like a little princess. This Xiangge was not only smart, but also attractive. Lin Yu was in a good mood. He explained, that big shot should be under the Emperor's Gate. Starfield's divine, well, Emperor's Gate. He's a descendant of the divine, well, Great Emperor? No, he's just living in a subsidiary sect. He's in charge of cultivating the Emperor's son. Xiangge was stunned. What's an Emperor's son? Lin Yu held the warship with one hand and looked at the sky with the other. The Emperor's Gate Starfield originated from the 9 great emperors of the imperial era. Among the 9 great emperors, Heaven Emperor Qi was half human and half demon. He could not pass on his bloodline. The demon emperor was attacked by the 7 great emperors. Lin Yu's eyes shone with the light of the universe's history. This caused Yao Gu to be a little stunned. The descendants of the 7 great emperors created the Emperor's Gate. Among the many chaotic starfields in the universe, the Four Directions Starfield and other small starfields exist as subsidiaries of the Emperor's Gate Starfield. Lin Yu looked at Xiangge. Do you remember the girl riding the coin? You've seen her before? Xiangge nodded. The people of the Emperor's Gate have always understood how the Four Directions Starfield works. They'll know immediately when a grand supreme powerhouse appears. That's right. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Even with the Alliance, they'll still be afraid. Afraid of what? What's the Alliance? Xiangge was confused. She knew about the Emperor's Gate, but the Emperor's Gate would not reveal the details to the Four Directions Starfield. However, she was surprised that Lin Yu knew so much about it. Wasn't he also from the forgotten, immortal sect in the north? The person walking in front is afraid of being overtaken by the person behind. Even if the person in front has walked far away, he will still look back from time to time. The Grand Supreme Realm is the benchmark that the Emperor Gate Starfield is afraid of. Yao Gu seemed to understand. Lin Yu smiled. As for the alliance agreement, you'll know about it in the future. The path of martial arts is long, and it's not something the so-called Grand Supreme Realm or Law Realm can explain clearly. Lin Yu sighed inwardly. If he had not seen true power, he might have had a great yearning for the Grand Supreme stage. However, when a person's horizons were high, the things in front of him would naturally become less imposing. Lin Yu and Yao Gu stepped into the gates of the Yao clan. The last time Lin Yu had been here, he had been stopped by Xia Jie and the others. However, many of the Yao clan's elder-level characters had already personally come out to welcome them. I heard from the guards that young Master Lin has arrived at the Yao clan. I welcome young Master Lin on behalf of the clan leader. Lin Yu had heard about the person who spoke before. He was one of the 7 elders of the Yao clan who used to refine pills. Elder Qian, you don't have to be so polite. Lin Yu is here this time to borrow the Sacred Heart Cauldron. Hearing that, Elder Qian was somewhat astonished. The present Lin Yu is already a top figure in the southern border. However, such a big figure actually knew his surname. I'm flattered. The clan leader has already instructed that once young Master Lin arrives, the Yao clan will agree to all your requests. Lin Yu smiled. Then I'll have to trouble you, Elder. Young Master Lin, please. Lin Yu stepped down, and many people looked at him with envy and admiration. Is it the great hero of the South, Sacred King Lin? The one beside him should be from the Wind Moon clan. She's so beautiful, and she's full of charm. She really matches Sacred King Lin. Hearing these words, Xiangge deliberately pretended not to hear. But at the same time, he looked at Lin Yu and smiled at him. Don't mind what those people say. We're brothers, Lin Yu said lightly. Xiangge snorted. That's right. We're just brothers. After that, Lin Yu put his arm around Xiangge's shoulder and walked straight in. Xiangge was a little against the physical contact at first, but she thought that she couldn't break it here. She didn't resist at all. Young Master Lin, clan leader Xia, is waiting for you in the main hall. Lin Yu nodded. Xian Gu said softly, Xia Bing has just been appointed as the clan leader. You should have a lot to talk about. I won't disturb you. After that, Xian Gu sat obediently in the side hall. I'll wait for you here. Lin Yu smiled. How could such a woman not be likable? Lin Yu walked into the main hall and passed through a long corridor. At the end of the corridor, Elder Qian bowed and left. The clan leader is inside. Please make yourself at home, young Master Lin. After that, he bowed and left. Lin Yu smiled. I haven't had the chance to congratulate clan leader Xia on her ascension. She won't blame me, right? Xia Bing's gentle voice came from the room. Are you here to accept your punishment or to look for Xia Bing? Both. Lin Yu didn't beat around the bush. I'm here to borrow the Sacred Heart Cauldron. The door opened, and Xia Bing appeared in front of Lin Yu. She was dressed in a neat white robe. There was a hint of maturity on her fair face. It seems that the old clan leader chose the right person. Lin Yu smiled. Young Master Lin, there's still many things that I don't understand. It's a pity that my grandfather is in seclusion, so I have to figure out myself. For example, Lin Yu smiled with interest. A strange light flashed in Xia Bing's eyes. Young Master, are you going to talk to Xia Bing at the door? Lin Yu didn't hesitate. He walked into the room and smelled a fragrance. This was Xia Bing's room. Young Master. Xia Bing hugged Lin Yu from behind. Feeling Xia Bing's gentleness, Lin Yu smiled softly. Just as Yimingwei had teased her before, ever since Lin Yu became the hero of the Yao clan and saved her grandfather, Xia Zheng, Xia Bing had no interest in other men. Clan leader Xia has grown a lot. Xia Bing shook her head behind Lin Yu. I heard that you're leaving. Lin Yu nodded. Is it from the Wind Moon clan or the Sword clan? It's the Sword clan. Sister Qi, and Sister Mingyue both sent people to bid me farewell. Xia Bing's voice was filled with loneliness. Do I want to leave with you? Lin Yu was a little surprised. Isn't the Yao clan good? Xia Bing shook her head again. The Yao clan is doing well now. Xia Jie and Xia Guangshan have been imprisoned. Father also doesn't dare to look for Xia Bing during this period of time, in exchange for Xia Bing's peace. But you've also become haggard. Lin Yu noticed Xia Bing's expression. Thank you for your concern. Xia Bing hugged Lin Yu tightly. Young Master, you're the savior of the Southern Land. Now that the Southern Land is out of the war, the Yao clan, as one of the 8 clans and the only alchemy clan, naturally has to bear the responsibility of treating the injured. Chapter 169. Lin Yu nodded. You've done a good job. No, Xia Bing said sincerely. What I've done is not even 1,000th of what you've done. You're a true hero of the southern border. She paused. Xia Bing took a deep breath. Young Master. Xia Bing's gentle voice sounded with a hint of playfulness. I can't go with you. At least, I can't leave before Grandpa comes out. Lin Yu didn't say anything. Xia Bing continued. I want to spend some time with you. Lin Yu blinked. Are you going to be taken advantage of again? Before he could stop thinking, Xia Bing walked up and said softly, I've been studying ancient books and found a pill called Ice Fire Pill. This pill doesn't have the effect of curing diseases, but Lin Yu smiled faintly. But after taking it, you'll feel ice and fire in your mouth for 2 hours. It's mainly for couples at night. Xia Bing covered Lin Yu's mouth with 2 fingers. Young Master, since you're leaving, you have to leave something for me. With that, she let Lin Yu lie on her phoenix bed. Her storage ring flashed, and a pill with red and blue light appeared in Xia Bing's hand. When Grandpa comes out, I'll go find you. At that time, will you still take me to practice? Xia Bing pursed her lips and swallowed the ice fire pill. I will. Lin Yu nodded. With that, Xia Bing smiled contentedly. 2 hours later, Lin Yu walked out of the room and went to the side hall with Xia Bing. Xiangge glanced at him and saw Xia Bing's shy face. Did you do something bad? Why were you gone for so long? Xiangge asked immediately. Then she looked at Xia Bing. Why is family head Xia's face swollen? Xia Bing didn't dare to answer. Lin Yu said coldly, We're brothers. Don't meddle in my private affairs. Although his voice was cold, he was trying to make Xiangge jealous. Rumble was suppressing her anger. Lin Yu was right. As long as they were still so-called fake brothers, they shouldn't care about Lin Yu's private matters. I'm just curious. If you don't want to talk about it, then forget it. Xiang Gu snorted. Xia Bing immediately said, Young master, I'll go prepare the materials. Lin Yu nodded. After Xia Bing left, he took a step forward and whispered into Yao Ji's ear, We just did something bad. You. Yao Gu was furious. Why are you telling me this? Didn't you want to ask? Lin Yu put his hand on Yao Ji's shoulder. If I do something bad with another woman in the future, I'll tell you. Xiang Ji's chest heaved, but she couldn't say a word. If she rejected him, she was afraid that she would be suspicious. If she agreed, wouldn't she have to suppress her jealousy every day? No matter how she looked at it, she felt that she had suffered a great loss. After a few more hours, Lin Yu finally refined the second Sacred Heart pill with Grand Monarch Shumi's essence blood. Young master, are there any more seriously injured people in the southern border? Xia Bing couldn't help but ask when she saw Lin Yu use the Sacred Heart cauldron to refine a Sacred Heart pill. She asked after Lin Yu took the pill, which was already giving Lin Yu face. This isn't for the people in the southern border. It's a gift. Lin Yu smiled faintly. I'm giving it to a powerful old man in the Emperor Gate Starfield. He should be in need of it now. Xia Bing's eyes were a little lonely. She also wanted to go to the Emperor Gate Starfield, and with Lin Yu there, she felt incomparably safe. Therefore, even if she wanted to go to a place with many experts and a higher level than the Four-Direction Starfield, Xia Bing only had anticipation and no fear. But now, she had more responsibilities on her shoulders, and she didn't have the freedom she had before. When Lin Yu left, he saw Yao Gu take the initiative to step forward and hold his hand. Brother, let's go to the Emperor Gate Starfield, Yao Gu said coquettishly. When Xia Bing saw this scene, she felt even more desolate. Lin Yu glanced at her. He knew that the Wind Moon clan leader wanted to vent her anger, but there was nothing she could do. After bidding farewell to the Yao clan, Lin Yu returned to the warship. Yao Gu suggested, If we rush over now, we might be able to catch up with them. Lin Yu shook his head. Let's go to another place first. But to go to the Emperor Gate from the Four-Direction Starfield, we need a Grand Supreme Realm expert to open the passage. If we don't follow them, can we enter the Emperor Gate Starfield? Yao Gu asked. Lin Yu steered the warship and suddenly broke into a huge teleportation array. Why is there a teleportation array here? She looked at Lin Yu in shock. This is clearly the void. I didn't see any teleportation array fluctuations at all. Lin Yu shrugged. If I said I was guessing, would you believe me? Yao Gu immediately shook her head. No. Lin Yu smiled faintly. There was nothing he could do about it. The warship drove into the teleportation array. In an instant, Yao Gu felt that the surrounding space had undergone a tremendous change. From the original Four-Direction Starfield, they seemed to have passed through the airflow layer and finally appeared in another starfield. Could this be the Emperor Gate Starfield? Yao Ji's eyes widened. This was her first time here, so she couldn't be sure. However, she was now at the unconquerable realm, so she could see the difference in the laws of the surrounding starfields. That's right. We're here. Lin Yu nodded. Rumble Song's heart was in turmoil. I thought it would take at least a few days to get there. In her heart, the Emperor Gate Starfield was a very distant place. However, to Lin Yu, he had once traveled to every place in the universe in a day. Of course, he wouldn't waste so much time. Yao Gu glanced at Lin Yu. This guy has too many secrets on him. She suddenly understood why Lin Yu didn't go to the Emperor Gate Starfield with the rest of the group. He must be worried that too many people will know his secrets. What a stingy guy, Yao Gu muttered to herself. What are you thinking about? Lin Yu interrupted her thoughts. Without waiting for Yao Gu to answer, he looked up. Jixiao Library's warship. Do you see it? Yao Gu followed Lin Yu's gaze and saw a few huge warships flying across the sky. There were hundreds of people on the warships. All of them looked happy, as if they were rushing to a joyous occasion. The Emperor's Preceptor's birthday this time is really lively. Of course, I heard that even the popular candidates for the Battle of the Princes will come for his 100th birthday. You're talking about Jiu Xingshan, right? He's one of the three most likely candidates for the Battle of the Princes. Jiao Xingshan is already an unconquerable realm expert. Who are the other two? Of course, it's Tang Xin from the Dragon Sealing City and Qing Qing from the Emperor's Sect. I think Jiao Xingshan is the most likely candidate. After all, he's the Emperor's preceptor's disciple. There are many princes under him. Our sect master has instructed us to get familiar with him this time. In the future, if our disciples can receive guidance from the Emperor's preceptor, they will have a chance to become the princes. Once they have the power, they will soar to the top. Chapter 170. The people on a ship discussed. Lin Yu and Yao Ge left their ship and came to the bow. I'm Lin Yu. I'm going to attend the Imperial Tutor's birthday banquet. Can I borrow your ship? The leader of the ship looked at Lin Yu and the beauty beside him. He couldn't help but widen his eyes. We've never heard of anyone called Lin Yu in the divine, Imperial domain. He's probably from some small sect. He's here to curry favor with the Imperial Tutor. Come on up. The leader finished his words. His gaze was still on Yao Ge. I've never seen such a beautiful woman. A man's wealth is his own ruin. We'll kill this Lin Yu if we have the chance. That beauty will belong to us. Everyone had their own plans. Yao Ge seemed to be ignoring them, but she had seen all of their gazes. Young master, are you sure we're not on a pirate ship? Lin Yu shrugged when he heard this. With such a beautiful woman like clan leader Yuanga around, she'll be coveted wherever she goes. Isn't that a pirate ship? Yao Ge snorted and couldn't help but say, then why are you fooling around with Xia Bing? She had the same status as Xia Bing in the southern border. Naturally, she didn't need to address her as clan leader Xia. Lin Yu looked at Yao Ge with interest. If I don't fool around with Xia Bing, do you want me to fool around with you, clan leader Yao Ge? Don't even think about it. We're brothers. Yao Ge retorted and changed the topic. We're not in the southern border anymore. Don't call me clan leader. Call me Yao Ge. Lin Yu nodded casually. He felt more and more gazes around him. He sighed softly. As long as he had a beauty with him, he would have face wherever he went. Unfortunately, this kind of face required strength. Once he wasn't strong enough, he and Yao Ge would be swallowed by the people around them. I'm Hong Tian. I'm the captain of this birthday ship and also from Jixia Library. A middle-aged man came forward. He didn't look polite. Yao Ge recognized him as the person who had asked them to board the ship. Thank you, Captain Hong. It's all thanks to you that young master and I are able to attend the birthday banquet. Xiang Ge bowed with a smile. Her beautiful face was filled with seduction. Even if she couldn't do it, after practicing Drunken Dream for a long time, the laziness and charm in her bones had given her a fatal attraction to men. Well said, well said. May I know the name of this little beauty? This is the first time this captain has seen such a beautiful woman. Hong Tian could not help but take a few more glances at Yao Ge. Although rumor was dressed conservatively, it was impossible for her to let Hong Tian take advantage of her. However, at this moment, Hong Tian's exquisite and curvaceous figure had already appeared in his mind. It's just a lowly name, not worth mentioning. Her tone made Hong Tian feel a little distant. But at the same time, Xianggu also glanced at Lin Yu, as if she was very popular. She wanted to see if Lin Yu would be angry. Damn it, why isn't this guy reacting at all? Lin Yu was actually looking at the scenery. Yao Ge blinked her phoenix eyes. When Hong Tian saw this, the people on the other ships also paid attention to them. This Hong Tian is really embarrassed. His hot face is stuck to a cold butt. How could such a beautiful woman be so easy to woo? Hearing the gossip, Hong Tian's old face started to lose its composure. Could it be that you look down on me? You're not even willing to tell me your name? Yao Ge was only thinking about Lin Yu's reaction. Since Lin Yu ignored her, she was not even interested in talking to Hong Tian. Miss, I'm in charge of this ship. Hong Tian emphasized again. His tone was already very unpleasant. Yao Ge was a little impatient. Didn't I already thank you? Captain Hong, is there anything else? It's nothing. It's just that this ship is heading to the high-level Jixia Library. I still need to know the names of the people on the ship and collect some fees. After hearing this, Yao Ge had no other choice. My name is Yao Gu, and he is Lin Yu. How much is the fee? Hong Tian narrowed his eyes and grinned. Just 1 million glory baht. Yao Gu did not even blink. Her storage ring flashed, and the 1 million glory baht directly entered Hong Tian's storage ring. Is it done? Yao Gu asked. When Hong Tian saw the 1 million glory baht in his storage ring, he smiled proudly. However, Yao Gu still looked cold, but she was like a little bird in front of Lin Yu. He could not help but feel unhappy. This kid's aura seems to be only at the transcendent realm 1 yang level, which is 1 realm lower than me, Hong Tian thought in his heart and did not leave. Is there anything else? Yao Gu was a little impatient. Why are these people from the Emperor Gate Star Field so annoying? Also, Miss Yao Gu, please follow me into the cabin to register your name. Didn't I tell you my name? Registration is the procedure of Jixia Library. If you want to go to Jixia Library, please follow it. The corner of Hong Tian's mouth curled into a smile. Once Yao Gu did not agree. Even if he received 1 million glory baht, he could still kick Lin Yu off the ship. As for this beauty, he naturally would not kick her out. Brother, I'll be back soon. Yao Gu saw Lin Yu nodding. Why aren't you worried about me? After entering the cabin with Hong Tian, Yao Gu asked, How do I register? Simple. Hong Tian took out a wooden seal in his hand. As long as you let me stamp on your jade back, you'll be registered. Oh. The surrounding space gradually cooled down. After Yao Gu answered calmly, her beautiful eyes stared at Hong Tian. As the Wind Moon clan's patriarch, how could she not see that he was playing tricks? Captain Hong, are you sure you want to do this? Of course, please cooperate. What if I don't? If this was the South, the other party would already be a dead man. Then get off the ship. After all, I'm in charge here. After hearing this, Yao Gu frowned. Hee, I think you don't belong to any sect at all. How can I cheat you of 1 million glory baht? You must know how many people are willing to pay the price to board my warship. Hong Tian warned. After that, he was ready to grab Yao Gu with one hand and said, If you want to curry favor with a high-level sect like Jixia Library, a little sacrifice is nothing. I have a lot of power in Jixia Library. If Miss Yao Gu is willing to follow me, you won't have to listen to others anymore. Yao Gu took a step back and easily avoided Hong Tian's hand. I already have someone in my heart. Captain Hong, please be careful. You're talking about that kid, right? His realm is lower than mine. As long as you're willing to follow me, I'll immediately find someone to kill him. Yao Gu squinted her eyes slightly. With just you? Why, you don't believe me. After all, I'm still a 2-sun transcendent realm. After that, the yang aura around his body skyrocketed. Not enough, not enough. Even 100 Captain Hongs wouldn't be a match for him, Yao Gu said mockingly. Ridiculous. If I can kill that Lin Yu, are you willing to follow me? Yao Gu certainly wouldn't let him find trouble with Lin Yu. If you want to touch Lin Yu, why don't you go through me first? We don't want to cause trouble, but there are too many annoying things like you in this world. Chapter 171. I like women who resist the most. The more you resist, the more excited I get. Hong Tian couldn't see through Xiang Ji's cultivation because Xiang Gu was 1 realm higher than him. In his eyes, Lin Yu was only in the 1-sun transcendent realm. How strong could the woman beside him be? Thinking of this, Hong Tian directly made a move with his right hand. The scorching Yao energy produced a suction force that rolled over and enveloped Xiang Gu within. Xiang Gu dodged again. She just casually raised her hand, and Hong Tian's Yao energy instantly stopped in the air. Impregnable realm. Hong Tian's eyes widened, and he was extremely shocked. However, Xiang Gu didn't make a move. He smiled. So what if you're in the impregnable realm? It seems like you should know that if you dare to touch me here, you will forever lose the chance to curry favor with Jixia Book Pavilion. Xiang Gu frowned and kept retreating. It wasn't that she couldn't defeat Hong Tian. However, once she made a move, she was afraid that she and Lin Yu would be chased off the ship. If she ruined Lin Yu's plans, Xiang Gu would feel bad. Whoosh! The moment Xiang Gu was thinking, she revealed a flaw, which allowed Hong Tian to suddenly land a palm on her forehead. Be obedient and give in. Just as Hong Tian was about to succeed, he heard the cold voice of a man. You can't even deal with such a small fry. The door burst open, and the two guards fell to the ground. They were already dead. You're just in the one-sun realm. Do you want to die? Hong Tian's expression was terrible. Not only did he not even touch Xiang Ji's finger, but two of his subordinates were also killed by Lin Yu. As soon as he finished speaking, Hong Tian changed his attack and charged towards Lin Yu. Then, while his palm was still in the air, his entire arm burned with black flames. What is this? This flame was dozens of times hotter than his transcendent yang energy. Hong Tian originally wanted to resist with his cultivation, but before he could do so, the black flames had already spread up his entire arm. Damn it, damn it! Hong Tian roared. The storage ring on his left hand flashed, and a long saber appeared. He gritted his teeth and directly slashed his right arm. Boom! His right arm fell to the ground and was incinerated by the black flames. Hong Tian fell to the ground in pain, but he heard Lin Yu's cold voice. I don't want to kill more people. If you bring more people here, I'll kill them all. Hong Tian gritted his teeth as he pointed at Lin Yu. How dare you? I'm from Jixiao Library. Lin Yu hugged Yao Ge, who looked at him worriedly. Are you really okay? She knew that she and Lin Yu had come to the Emperor Gate starfield. This was not the southern boundary starfield. It was her territory. If she accidentally offended a big shot, it was very likely that it would bring disaster to her and Lin Yu. But now, Xiang Ge was looking at Lin Yu. Was he wrong? It's fine. Kill as you please. Lin Yu's calm words gave Yao Ge immense confidence. Even in the powerful Emperor Gate starfield, this guy was still as overbearing as ever. Just don't mention my name. Lin Yu added, keep a low profile. How are you keeping a low profile? Yao Ge glanced at him angrily. Can't you show me some respect? Hong Tian said angrily. I'm from Jixiao Library. Lin Yu turned around. Imperial Preceptor Li Yi values his reputation the most. Guess what if the people on this ship went to Jixiao Library to celebrate his birthday, but died on the way? How would he deal with you? Lin Yu's words made Hong Tian's heart tighten. How could this kid be so clear about the stakes? One arm and two corpses. This is a warning to you and also my mercy. Lin Yu ignored him. At this moment, the warship was showing signs of stopping. He brought Yao Ge out of the cabin. Even if Hong Tian did not come out, the others still got off the warship. At this moment, Lin Yu also got off the warship. In front of them was a huge sea. As for this sea, apart from water, there was nothing else at all. However, the warship's bow was now suspended in midair. It was as if an originally closed curtain had been poked open. Behind the curtain, everyone saw a huge island through the gap. What's the background of Jixiao Library? Yao Ge looked at the glorious island and the sea that was even wider than the Wind Moon clan's territory. Especially under the sea, Yao Ge could vaguely hear the low voices of many demon beasts. Although they did not appear, Yao Ge knew that there were many powerful demons hidden under the sea. She could not help but ask Lin Yu. The latter also explained, the Emperor Gate star domain is not like the four-direction star domain. There are a total of 3 star domains here. We are now in the outer region of the Emperor Gate, where the low-level and high-level sects are. Jixiao Library is one of the high-level sections. The inner region of the Emperor Gate is where the quasi-emperor sects are. The true descendants of the 7 emperors are at the core of the Emperor Gate. That is the most powerful essence of the Emperor Gate star domain, where the 7 great Emperor Gates are. Yao Ge was enlightened. I thought we were already near the Emperor Gate, but aren't we going to the Emperor Gate this time? Why do we come to the outer region? Lin Yu explained patiently. It's not as simple to establish a sect in the Emperor Gate star domain as compared to the 4-direction star domain. You have to start from a low-level sect. To establish a low-level sect, you have to meet 2 conditions. First, you have to have a Grand Supreme expert in the sect. Second, you have to be recognized by at least 2 high-level sections. Yao Ge could not help but take a deep breath after hearing that. In this world, only the strong are respected. Even the appearance of a sect requires the permission of a superior. Then, the death of a sect can only be decided by a superior with a single thought. Lin Yu nodded. That's right. The weak are prey to the strong. This is the law of survival. As long as a low-level sect is established, it will become a subsidiary of a high-level sect. Even if it becomes a high-level sect, there are still quasi-emperor sects, emperor-level sects, and even emperor-level sects that have not appeared in the past 1,000 years. This is the rule of the Emperor Gate, Star Domain. After Lin Yu finished speaking, the two of them had already stepped into the island. At the edge of the island, after they set foot on the island, they followed the large group and prepared to enter. Who's the big shot at the birthday celebration this time? Yao Gu saw an endless stream of guests, and there were 7 or 8 warships descending from the sky. Such a lineup made her very interested in this big shot. Imperial Tutor Li Yi, the master of the high-level Jixiao library, and also the Emperor's disciple's trainer. Yao Gu was puzzled. What's the Emperor's disciple? Is it related to the Emperor Gate? You're not that stupid. Lin Yu smiled. The Emperor's disciple is the most important channel for low-level and high-level sects to curry favor with quasi-emperor and emperor-level sections. Every year, quasi-emperor and emperor-level sects will come to the outer region of the Emperor Gate to hold the Emperor's disciple battle. The sects in the outer region will train their most powerful younger generation and place their hopes in the Emperor's disciple battle on them. Once they are chosen by an Emperor-level sect and promoted to Emperor's disciple, they will become a core disciple of the Emperor-level sect in the future. Their sect will also rise because of one person's success. Chapter 172. Yao Gu roughly understood. The birthday celebration was celebrated by Li Yi, the Emperor's tutor who specialized in grooming thearchs. No wonder these sects from the outer regions were fighting to bring gifts. Thinking of this, Yao Gu looked at Lin Yu in surprise. The Sacred Heart Pill is the gift you prepared. Lin Yu nodded. That old man Li Yi is already so old. He wants to live a few more years. My Sacred Heart Pill could be exchanged for at least 3 years of his life. Yao Gu couldn't help but guess. You want to use your relationship with Li Yi to get Jixiao Library's approval for us to establish a sect. That's right. Li Yi is considered a relatively simple shortcut. If this trip is successful, we only need the approval of a high-level sect before we can truly gain a foothold in the outer region of the Imperial Gate. After Lin Yu finished speaking, he also had some thoughts in his mind. This was his first time establishing a sect in the true sense of the word. In the past, although he had real power and could truly control the Wangxian sect, the 8 clans, and so on, they weren't considered his territory in name. However, it was different this time. It would be a sect that completely belonged to him. Thinking of this, Lin Yu couldn't help but feel excited, especially the accompanying saintesses. Apart from Shan there were 106 others. He didn't know if they were really that powerful under Qin Yi's training. The two of them finally lined up at the door. Stop, what sect? At the door, 3 guards were standing guard and asking Lin Yu about it. Lin Yu smiled, and Yao Gu stepped forward obediently. We belong to, she thought for a moment. Her Wind Moon clan and Lin Yu's Hongming continent could no longer be considered sects here. Yao Gu smiled helplessly. Big brothers, we don't belong to any sect. We're just here to pay respects to Pavilion Master Li Ye's great name. We're here to send gifts and broaden our horizons. She spoke very politely. If the Wind Moon fairies were here, they would definitely be stunned. How could their domineering clan leader become so gentle and pleasant when she was with Lin Yu? If you don't belong to any sect, then 3 million glory baht per person. The leader of the guard spoke. Yao Gu didn't know the rules of the outer zone of the Imperial Gate and couldn't be bothered to care about it. 2 is 6 million. She glanced at Lin Yu, but the latter looked indifferent. I just spent 1 million dazzling baht on the ship. Don't you have anything to say? Lin Yu shook his head. I don't have money. Xianggu was speechless. You don't even bring money with you when you go on a long trip. Aren't you afraid of being betrayed? Don't worry, I never used to carry money either. Lin Yu thought back to the 100,000 years he had been trapped. He had relied on his mouth and the secrets in his heart to live a good life wherever he went. Of course, she didn't know that all of Lin Yu's resources had been given to Qin Ji to establish a new sect. Rumble took out 6 million glory bot from her storage ring and gave it to the guard. The middle-aged man examined it with his spiritual perception before nodding. However, he couldn't help but look at Linyu with disdain. So you're a man who lives off a woman. In this regard, Linyu also felt that he was very innocent. But so what if he lives off a woman? Thinking of this, he subconsciously hugged Rumble's shoulder. It's good to have brothers. Rumble glanced at him and didn't care about this. Can we go in? Rumble asked. The guard nodded. Let's go in. The two of them were about to go in when they heard Hong Tian's voice behind them. Wait. Hong Tian came with an aggressive aura. Is he here to cause trouble for us? Rumble asked worriedly. Lin Yu shook his head. He doesn't have the guts. Li Yi values his reputation the most. Just remember this. Rumble was confused. Of course, she didn't have as many bad thoughts as Lin Yu. Captain Hong, what happened to your arm? The leader of the guard was also stunned to see that Hong Tian's right arm was broken and was still wrapped in bandages. A trace of murderous intent flashed in Hong Tian's eyes. However, just as Lin Yu said, he didn't have the guts to touch Lin Yu today. Not to mention that he provoked Rumble first. Even if Lin Yu caused trouble first, if he didn't handle it well, it would affect Li Ye's mood at any time. In Jishao Book Pavilion, this was a capital offense. I met an invincible realm expert before. After a few hundred moves, I still couldn't defeat him and lost an arm. Hong Tian laughed. The guard was also a transcendent realm expert. After listening, he clenched his fists in disbelief. Captain Hong is really powerful. You can actually exchange a few hundred moves with an invincible realm expert. Even with a broken arm, it's enough to see the strength of Captain Hong's combat power. I'm afraid even our brothers can't compare. Hong Tian smiled proudly, but he was too lazy to say more. The more he said, the more exposed it would be. I see that these two people are sneaking around on the ship. I don't know if they came here with a purpose. Since they said that they are here to celebrate the Pavilion Master's birthday, why don't we check the gifts? Hong Tian suggested in a soft voice beside the guard. Those few people naturally had to give Hong Tian, the captain, some face. They looked at each other and took the lead to raise his hand to Lin Yu. Check the gifts before going in. Rumble frowned, wondering why this Hong Tian was like a dog-skin plaster that couldn't be shaken off. Check it. But before she could react, Lin Yu had already thrown a brocade box to the guard. Elixir. The guard opened it and looked at Hong Tian. The latter said, It's colorless and odorless. I don't know if it's a real elixir. The guard couldn't tell that it was the Sacred Heart elixir that Lin Yu personally refined. This kind of alchemy that completely restrained the pill fragrance wasn't something they could see. Captain Hong, it doesn't seem to be anything special. The guard was also helpless. When he was about to return it to Lin Yu, he saw Hong Tian had an idea. Of course, I can't see anything with just the naked eye. Why don't I cut it in half and see? The three guards understood Hong Tian's meaning. Could it be that Hong Tian wanted to mess with these two? Captain Hong, it's our duty to cut open the gift and examine it. It's just that I understand. Hong Tian's storage ring flashed, and 500,000 glory bot flew out to the guard. The latter nodded and said to Lin Yu, We have to cut this thing open and examine it. Rumble immediately objected. What do you mean? This is an elixir. Once it's cut open, at least half of the medicinal power inside will be lost. Of course, she was aware of Lin Yu's alchemy skills. He was able to get the Yao clan's patriarch to assist him in refining elixirs. Moreover, he was able to refine the antidote in just a few moments after falling for her befuddled dream. It would be a pity if the elixir refined by such an expert was destroyed. It's fine. Lin Yu smiled faintly. After seeing this scene, Rumble knew that he was up to no good again. Since that's the case, let's cut it open and see. Hong Tian sneered coldly. The guard at the side had also received the money to do his job. With a wave of his hand, the Sacred Heart pill was immediately split into two. The pure and rich pill fragrance instantly spread in all directions. Chapter 173. The fragrance of the pill assailed their nostrils. It immediately attracted the attention of others. What a rich pill fragrance. With this level of pill fragrance, the pill itself is at least a black-grade pill. I wonder which alchemy expert created it. This pill is extremely precious. Just by smelling the pill fragrance, many people had already judged the value of Lin Yu's Sacred Heart pill. The guard and Hong Tian looked at each other and felt that something was wrong. Isn't it colorless and odorless? Why does it smell so good? They could also see that this pill might be very precious. They immediately closed the box and returned it to Lin Yu. After taking the box, Lin Yu smiled and didn't say anything. He directly followed the group to the Pavilion Master's mansion. However, when they saw Lin Yu's back, Hong Tian and the guard didn't know why, but they felt their hearts beating fast. Captain Hong, that's at least a black-grade pill. Don't worry, it'll be fine. It won't. Hong Tian's heart was beating faster than anyone else's. Originally, he just wanted to ruin Lin Yu's gift and embarrass him. But now, he couldn't feel proud at all. In front, Xiangge followed Lin Yu. Are you really okay? Yes. Lin Yu had already put away the box. This cut has lost at least 60% of the pill's strength. Xiangji's heart was bleeding. The Sacred Heart Cauldron, the unresolvable state heart blood, and countless herbs were wasted just like that. It's not wasted. It's better this way. Xiangge was puzzled. Seeing Lin Yu enter the Pavilion Master's mansion, she followed him. The people here came and went, and they were all dressed appropriately and elegantly. The Pavilion Master's mansion was located on a crescent-shaped bay. It was as if a crescent-shaped valley had been created under the island to allow seawater to gush up. On the crescent-shaped bay, green lotus flowers bloomed, and lotus leaves covered the surface of the water. There was a long and narrow stone bridge between the bay and the shore. As Xiangge walked on it, she could vaguely feel the tyrannical aura under her feet. Is there a demonic beast below? A small thing. Lin Yu casually replied. The stone bridge was connected to the huge Pavilion Master Mansion. After the two of them entered, they naturally did not have a designated seat. Outside the courtyard of the Pavilion Master's Mansion, there were thousands of two-person tables set up. Many people also sat down one after another. I heard that even the high-ranked Raging Fire Temple will be coming this time. Of course, Jiuxing Shan, one of the 9 sons of the Blazing Inferno, is one of the 3 disciples that the Imperial Preceptor has accepted in the past few years. There is still half a month before the new Battle of the Princes. Jiuxing Shan has a high chance of becoming the prince this time. If he is accepted by a quasi-emperor level sect, or even an Emperor's Gate, then the strength of the Raging Fire Temple will definitely increase greatly. It's best if Jiuxing Shan doesn't become an emperor. The 9 sons of the Raging Fire Temple have always been arrogant and despotic. They use the fact that they are from a high-ranked sect to humiliate people from low-ranked sects like us. That's true. However, what can we do about it? I think that only the great beauty of the 9 luminaries dragon sealing city, Tang Exun, and the Emperor's sect's Qing Qing can fight against Jiuxing Shan. Lin Yu and Yao Ge casually found a seat for 2 and sat down. They had also heard a lot of news. It seems that the Battle of the Princes is imminent. In addition, today is the birthday of the Imperial Preceptor, Li Yi. That's why so many people have gathered here. Yao Ge whispered, "Do we still have to give gifts later?" Lin Yu ate the fresh fruit served by the maidservant. Of course. Why don't you look distressed at all? Yao Ge was puzzled. Anyway, it's originally a gift for the Imperial Preceptor. It's not my loss if it's spoiled. After Lin Yu finished speaking, Yao Ge felt powerless to refute. All of a sudden, the noisy crowd came to a sudden stop. The Imperial Preceptor is here. Everyone was surprised to see an old man walking out of the courtyard's lobby. There were many people on both sides of him. Isn't that the Raging Fire Temple Master? Even the Raging Fire Temple Master came to find the Imperial Preceptor before us. There's also the City Lord of the 9 Luminaries Dragon Sealing City and the Sect Master of the Emperor's Sect. It seems that these big shots attach more importance to the Imperial Preceptor's birthday banquet than us. Of course, the Battle of the Princes is imminent. This is a major event that concerns the entire sect's future. In the lobby, the old man walking in the middle had a head of white hair, but he had a ruddy complexion. At this moment, He was looking kindly at the people who had come to congratulate him. He clasped his fists and said, "This old man has wasted 100 years. I didn't expect that all of you from the outer region would honor me with your presence. I, Li Yi, thank you all. The Imperial Preceptor is too polite. Lord Pavilion Master, it's our fortune to be able to come to your birthday banquet." The replies came one after another, and all of them were words of flattery flying all over the place. Next to Li Yi, a black-robed old man smiled and said, "The Imperial Preceptor's face is really big, unlike the three of us who only have to hold birthday banquets for the sect every year." This person was the city lord of the 9 Luminaries Dragon Sealing City. Xiao Mo, brother, Xiao should be talking about my situation. I heard that 2 months ago, Brother Zhao's banquet was not smaller than this one. The person who spoke was a middle-aged woman with a charming figure. She was dressed in a dignified and noble robe, but one could vaguely see her astonishing upper body. Sect Master Shun, you flatter this old man. How can I compare to the Imperial Preceptor? Xiaomo's old face twitched. He thought that this Emperor's sect master, Shun Suyi, was clearly trying to flatter him to death. Everyone knew that the Imperial Preceptor cared about his face the most. The most humiliating thing to him was that he didn't want to live anymore. On the other side, a red-haired old man smiled and said, "I wonder if that child Xing Shan has arrived." This faintly discernible sentence attracted the Imperial Preceptor's interest. "Xing Shan will come today?" Li asked with interest. "I heard that Prince Zhan and the other children have begun to cultivate in seclusion. I didn't expect Xing Shan to be interested in me," an old man with half a foot in the coffin. The red-haired old man was the raging fire temple master, Yin Tian. Xing Shan has already broken through to the unyielding realm. Naturally, he should come to thank the Imperial Preceptor for his nurturing. Yin Tian smiled. The birthday banquet began, and countless delicacies were served one after another. Yu Gu and Lin Yu were seated in a relatively remote corner, but they also saw many people beginning to gather in the direction of the main hall. They're starting to give gifts, right? Yuga guessed. They're starting to show off. As soon as Lin Yu's voice fell, Yuga saw him leave his seat and go up to him. Seeing this, Xianggu was hoping that something interesting would happen, so she immediately followed him. The surroundings of the main hall were already packed with people. Lin Yu finally found a place to stand, and Yugu also squeezed over. She stuck close to Lin Yu. Sure enough, it's better this way. Lin Yu couldn't help but sigh as he looked down at them from a close distance. Yu Ji's face immediately turned red, and she covered her face with her hands. "You rogue." In the middle of the main hall, a loud voice came one after another. They saw a middle-aged man holding a 7-foot-long wooden box in his hand. The Sea Dragon Sect's birthday gift, a 9th-grade weapon, the Soul Crusher Sword. After saying that, he passed the wooden box to the maidservant behind him and took a second metal box. Chapter 174. This is a gift from our sect master. A man in front of Lin Yu said excitedly. The middle-aged man in the hall checked the metal box and shouted, "Flying Cloud, Ancient Sect's birthday gift, a grade 3 spirit artifact, a replica of the Dongwang Bell." There's a replica? Of course. What kind of treasure is the Dongwang Bell? How can the Flying Cloud Ancient Sect give it away? Damn, even if they can't give it away, they don't have to make a replica, right? What do you know? Our sect master has seen the Dongwang Bell before. This is a high-quality replica. The people in front of Lin Yu kept arguing. However, Rumor Song noticed that even though the middle-aged man continuously called out a dozen treasures, Li didn't even look at them from beginning to end. It was as if these things were not worth mentioning in his eyes. These big shots have high standards. Xianggu sighed. Suddenly, a few streaks of light fell from the sky behind them. Disciple Jiu Xingshan is here to congratulate Master. A confident voice sounded. Everyone's attention was attracted by this action. They had to walk in Jishao Library because it was forbidden to use glory chi in the air. Hence, even though the hall was crowded, no one would fly up to watch. However, this person had descended from the sky, which made them feel that he was not simple. "Good disciple, come forward." Imperial tutor Li Ye's voice sounded. He waved his hand towards the young man who descended from the sky, and the two attendants behind him also walked straight into the inner part of the great hall. They did not need to say anything, and people made way for them. Naturally, Lin Yu's side was even more crowded. Xiang Gu, who was in front of him, had no choice but to stick close to Lin Yu. She had already reached the wall. Who is this person? Is there need to make way for him? Xiang Gu cursed in her heart as she moved her body. That's Jiao Xingshan, right? The young man walked in front of everyone and half knelt before the imperial preceptor. Other than Jiao Xingshan, one of the 9 sons of the blazing fire, and one of the 3 disciples of the imperial preceptor. Who else could have such a grand display? Sai, we've been squeezing in the front row for such a long time, and now we're all out. We all have different lives. Even if you exchange identities with Jiao Xingshan, you still can't compare to him. I remember that Jiao Xingshan is only 18 years old this year, but he's already an invincible realm expert. This aura can't be wrong. Everyone was talking about it. Imperial tutor Li Ye's hearty voice sounded. "Come, get up." He sized up Jiao Xingshan. "Seems like you really have broken through to the unyielding realm." Li Yi nodded. Jiao Xingshan humbly cupped his fists. "It's all because of Honorable Master's teachings." Haha, it's Xingshan's good fortune to be able to become a disciple of the Imperial Preceptor. The Raging Fire Temple Master smiled smugly. It seemed like he was trying to curry favor, but in fact, he was giving off an awe-inspiring feeling. He continued, "The battle of the princes is imminent. The fact that Xingshan is here shows how filial you are to Imperial Preceptor. You must remember this in the future. Even if you become a prince, don't forget Imperial Preceptor's kindness." Yin Tian gave a few more heartfelt words of advice. Hearing this, Jiao Xingshan's eyes were filled with pride, but he still humbly lowered his head. "Xingshan will definitely go all out in the battle of the princes. I won't disappoint Temple Master and Honorable Master." Li nodded in satisfaction as he stroked his white beard. If only Tang Xian and Qing Qing were here as well. It's a pity that these 2 girls only know how to cultivate and don't have time to care about an old man like me. Hearing this, Jiao Xingshan's eyes flashed with a trace of undetectable jealousy. Dragon Sealing City Lord Xiao Mo immediately smiled. "When the battle of the princes is over, this old man will bring Tang Xian here to apologize. Secmaster Shun, you should come too." Shun Sui also smiled. Okay, I'll bring Qingqing here to apologize too. Haha, I hope those 2 girls won't pull this old man's beard and say that I bullied them." Imperial Preceptor Li Ye's laughter rang out, and the whole place became even more lively. Yao Ge raised her head and looked at Lin Yu's chiseled face up close. "Why do I feel that this Imperial Preceptor likes those 2 female disciples more? You can even tell?" Lin Yu looked down at Yao Ge mockingly. "But you're right, the Imperial Preceptor is still an old man." Yao Ge glanced at him in annoyance. "That's definitely not the real reason." Lin Yu smiled. "Okay, he's old and sees through many things. He knows better than anyone who is truly good to him and who is only good to him for benefits." Then, Yao Ge seemed to know something, that Jiao Xingshan doesn't look like a good person. "Why do you say that?" Lin Yu thought that she had seen through something. "Because when he came, I was taken advantage of by a bad guy like you. It's clearly you who took advantage of me." Lin Yu immediately lost it. He came to join the fun, but he didn't ask Yao Ge to come along. But Lin Yu naturally wouldn't argue with Yao Ge. Only an idiot would argue with a woman. He still preferred to either use force or force. As such, Lin Yu wrapped his right hand around Yao Ji's waist and exerted force. "Didn't you say you want to be my brother? What's with taking advantage of brother?" As he spoke, Yao Ge struggled with all her might, but she couldn't pull away Lin Yu's transcendent realm battle physique. "I'm begging for mercy, please let me go." Yao Ge heaved a sigh of relief and said gently. Lin Yu smiled and let go of his hand. The problem was solved. In the hall, Jiao Xingshan interrupted the Imperial Preceptor's longing for Tang Xian and Qingqing. "Master, I came a little late this time to prepare this gift for you. After speaking, Jiu Shan raised his hand, and the storage ring of the person behind him flashed, and a brocade box appeared. Open it, Jiu Shan ordered. That person nodded and opened the brocade box. In an instant, a pill fragrance wafted out. It smells so good. This is a mystic level pill. A mystic level pill is 100 times more precious than the weapons and spiritual tools just now. I think this pill is a top-notch blood chi pill. It has the effect of prolonging one's life. Jiu Shan took the brocade box and presented it in front of the Imperial Preceptor. Master, this is a mystic level blood chi pill. I spent a few days searching for it. I wish you a long life. Good, very good. Li Yi laughed and received the blood chi pill. This pill can at least allow me to live for another month. Thank you, my disciple. Jiu Shan was overjoyed, but he knew when to advance and retreat. After that, he took a step back. It was the first time the crowd saw Li Yi's satisfied expression. Without comparison, there wouldn't be any harm. All the previous gifts couldn't be compared to a blood chi pill in Li Yi's heart. However, only a few people felt a sense of familiarity after smelling the pill fragrance. Why does it smell the same as the one at the entrance? One of the people's face turned green. Even Jiu Shan spent time searching for the blood chi pill. Why does it smell so similar to Lin Yu's pill? The one who muttered to himself was Hong Tian, who was in the crowd. He was even more surprised. Moreover, this blood chi pill doesn't seem to have the purest fragrance of Lin Yu's pill. Xianggu also looked at Lin Yu. This is the smell of the blood chi pill. A weakened version of the Sacred Heart pill. Lin Yu knew what she was thinking. After explaining, he raised his hand and shouted, I also have a pill for the Imperial Preceptor. Chapter 175. As the voice spread out, it immediately attracted the attention of many people. They all turned around and looked at Lin Yu. Because this voice contained 30% of Lin Yu's divine sense, it wouldn't have been able to suppress the noisy scene. Who is this person? He dares to give a gift behind Jiu Shan? Yeah, he doesn't know how to slow down. If he gives a gift now, won't he be going against Jiu Shan? Is he courting death? Did I hear wrongly? He wants to give a pill too? With the blood chi pill and jade pearl in front of him, why would he give a random item? Is he crazy trying to suck up to the Imperial Preceptor? The endless ridicule also attracted the attention of Jiu Shan and Li Yi. The former sized up Lin Yu. This young man's cultivation didn't seem high. Other than being handsome, there was nothing good about him. However, Jiu Shan's heart was moved by Yao Ji's beauty. What a beautiful woman. Didn't you say to keep a low profile? Yao Ge was also a little flustered by the gazes of so many people from the Emperor Gate Starfield. After all, she was unfamiliar with this place. I'm already keeping a low profile, Lin Yu retorted. He took a few steps forward, and the crowd automatically made way for him. Everyone make way. Let's see how he embarrasses himself. Hee, there's a good show to watch. Lin Yu held Yao Ji's hand and walked through the crowd, entering the hall. His storage ring flashed, and a brocade box appeared in Lin Yu's hand. This is the pill I want to give. As soon as Lin Yu finished speaking, the middle-aged man in charge of receiving the gift became impatient. He didn't even want to accept Lin Yu's gift. No need. The middle-aged man coldly looked at Lin Yu and glanced at the maid behind him. The maid immediately went forward and took Lin Yu's brocade box, preparing to bring it to the pile of gifts behind the hall. Once they were there, no one would know who had sent them. Wait. Lin Yu looked at Li Yi. Don't you want to take a look? Impudent. Jiu Shan shouted. Who are you? Who allowed you to talk to Master directly? The middle-aged man was also displeased. I said there's no need, so there's no need. Lord Imperial Preceptor doesn't have time for a small gift like yours. After saying that, she motioned for the maidservant to bring her to the backstage. Yao Ge frowned. What should she do? Lin Yu smiled faintly. Then I won't send you off. Get back to me. Hearing this, everyone sucked in a breath of air. What did he say? This is the first time I've heard of someone asking for a gift back. Do you want to die? If you can't bear to see him, then take back the gift. You should know that we bribed many people to get Elder Jiang to show us the gift. That kid probably doesn't know the rules. Or maybe he's just someone from a remote village who hasn't seen the world. When Elder Jiang, who was in charge of reading the birthday gift, heard Lin Yu's words, his face immediately darkened. Not only him, but Jiao Xingshan's face was also filled with anger. However, what was interesting was that Lin Yu's words attracted the attention of Li Yi and the three sect masters. How can you return the birthday gift sent to Jixia Book Pavilion just because you want to? Elder Jiang said angrily. If Lin Yu really messed up the situation, then where would he put his old face? Don't you understand? I said I won't send it back. Get back to me. Lin Yu's words were not very nice. Of course, all of this was within Lin Yu's expectations. However, the great beauty Guji's face had turned pale as a sheet. She knew very well that even if she had the combat strength of the unyielding realm, she was not enough in the eyes of this group of people. Do you want to die? Elder Jiang's eyes burned with anger. This was the first time he had been treated like this by someone who gave him a gift. Everyone present today was respectful to him. Most of the birthday gifts of the sect that were publicly read had to go through him and then into the hands of the Imperial Preceptor. This kid had asked him to read his birthday gift the moment he came up. Now he wanted his birthday gift back. It turns out that Jixia Book Pavilion is such an unreasonable place. I just want to take back my own things. Lin Yu said loudly, could it be that you, Jiang Sun, don't like my birthday gift and I can't take it back? Jiang Sun's face was sullen. At this moment, many people's gazes fell on him. If this matter was not handled well, it would damage the Imperial Preceptor's reputation at any time. The Imperial Preceptor, Li Yi, cared about his reputation the most. If he wants to return it, then let him return it. Li Yi, whose attention was attracted, also sent a voice transmission at this moment. Jixia Book Pavilion is a reasonable place, Li Yi said with a benevolent smile. Imperial Preceptor, don't worry. Our outer region is vast, so it's inevitable that there will be a few ignorant people. Yes, the junior doesn't know the big picture. Let him go. Such a person's future achievements are destined to be limited. Yin Tian and Xiao Mo said repeatedly, also seeing the clues of Li Ye's behavior. Seeing this, Jiang Sun's heart tightened. He had served Li Yi for many years, so how could he not know that Li Yi was angry now? It was just that today's birthday celebration had not erupted yet. Once it was over, he would definitely be punished. It was all this kid's fault. Since the Imperial Preceptor said so, take it back. Jiang Sun took the brocade box containing the Sacred Heart Pill from the maidservant and handed it to Lin Yu. Lin Yu stretched out his hand, but saw that Jiang Sun's hand was released in advance, and the brocade box fell to the ground. There was a soft thud. This old man is old, and my hands are inevitably trembling. You want a birthday gift, so consider it as returning it to you. Pick it up and get lost. Jiang Sun said in a deep voice in front of Lin Yu. However, Lin Yu just stood there and smiled, because the brocade box was opened. A rich pill fragrance wafted out from the brocade box, directly suppressing the blood qi pill that Jiao Xingshan had given previously. It made everyone's nostrils slightly stained with the medicinal power. It smells so good. Also, why do I feel relaxed and happy just by smelling it? Isn't that so? This pill fragrance is even more powerful than the blood qi pill. This scene was also noticed by Li Yi. His sinister eyes immediately stared at the brocade box on the ground. Although the pill in the brocade box was separated into two halves, he still recognized it. The Sacred Heart Pill. Even with Li Ye's state of mind, at this moment, his old eyes looked greedily at Lin Yu. You gave me the Sacred Heart Pill. Lin Yu nodded and smiled. It was, but now, he did not continue speaking. Instead, he lowered his head and looked at the brocade box on the ground, motionless. He did not move, but Jiang Sun's legs had already turned to jelly. Imperial Tutor, Jiang Sun spoke in a trembling voice. Hurry up and pick it up for me. After Li Yi finished speaking, Jiang Sun did not dare to hesitate. He immediately half-knelt in front of Lin Yu and hurriedly picked up the brocade box. However, in the process of picking it up, half of the pill in the brocade box fell to the ground. Trash! You broke the Sacred Heart pill. Lie's right hand slammed on the armchair beneath him, and he stood up straight. His 5 fingers formed a claw, and a suction force appeared, pulling the 2 halves of the Sacred Heart pill back to him. Xianggu was stunned. The power of the Grand Supreme. He's a Grand Supreme powerhouse. No, it's not me. Jiang Sun knelt down and kowtowed repeatedly. He was cursing in his heart. The brocade box had only fallen to the ground, but the pill had cracked. This was the Sacred Heart pill that the Imperial Tutor had been searching for several years, but he could not find. I'm dead, I'm dead. Jiang Sun thought of this and immediately turned around. Kid, no, young master, please explain to the Imperial Tutor. Lin Yu looked down at Jiang Sun and smiled faintly. Explain what? Chapter 176. Of course, it's to explain why the Sacred Heart pill cracked. Jiang Sun was anxious. However, Lin Yu slowly stroked the hair on his forehead. There's nothing to explain. You know better than me. This old man, how would this old man know? As soon as Jiang Sun finished speaking, he heard Lie's furious voice. Damn it. You ruined such a good Sacred Heart pill, just like that. Master, I really don't know. Jiang Sun couldn't defend himself. Everyone watched as he threw the brocade box on the ground. Elder Jiang Sun has kicked an iron plate. He's also unlucky. He usually looks down on others just because he's the Pavilion Master's Mansion's housekeeper. He didn't expect someone to give him the Sacred Heart pill. He must have made a mistake. It's not just Jiang Sun. We didn't expect this kid to give out the Sacred Heart pill as soon as he gave it out. I heard that the Sacred Heart pill requires the Sacred Heart cauldron and the heart blood of an invincible realm expert to refine. There aren't many Sacred Heart cauldrons in the outer region of the Emperor's Gate. Only a powerful alchemist can refine the Sacred Heart pill. It's extremely precious. These words reached Jiang Sun's ears one after another. He even wanted to die. Young master, I beg you. Hurry up and explain to the Imperial Tutor. It's really not my fault. Jiang Sun hugged Lin Yu's leg. He was already regretting it. Lin Yu didn't bother to pay attention to him. He swung his transcendent realm body, and Jiang Sun flew out. Although his cultivation was above Lin Yu, his combat strength was much weaker than Lin Yu. He didn't react in time and crashed beside a chair. He was lying there. How dare you be so fierce in front of my master? Jiao Xingshan saw the opportunity and immediately prepared to kill Lin Yu. This kid actually gave out a Sacred Heart pill, which instantly surpassed the blood chi pill that he painstakingly found. What was the difference between this and slapping his face? Jiao Xingshan took a step forward and cold air spread from his feet. He instantly approached Lin Yu. Danger! Yin Ji's heart tightened. She was about to make a move. However, Lin Yu only smiled disdainfully. He didn't even have the slightest intention to resist. Stop! Lie's voice sounded. The moment he opened his mouth, Jiao Xingshan immediately furrowed his brows. The unbreakable cold chi under Lin Yu's feet did not advance even half a step further. In the end, he withdrew it. Consider yourself lucky. Jiao Xingshan understood that Lin Yu's Sacred Heart pill had already attracted the greatest attention from Li Yi. This old man who was about to reach the end of his life valued his face and life the most. He couldn't touch Lin Yu now. Damn it, what are you doing? Jiao Xingshan's thoughts were interrupted by Lin Yu. His eyes widened as he watched Lin Yu fall to the ground. Scamming. Jiao Xingshan's heart immediately tightened. He had clearly retracted his cold chi, so it wouldn't hurt Lin Yu at all. But now, Lin Yu was lying on the ground with a pained expression on his face. Damn it, what a good Ji Xiao book pavilion. Not only did they take the birthday gift, but they also injured someone. I originally thought this young man was arrogant, but just by the Sacred Heart pill, I can see his sincerity towards the Imperial Preceptor. It's just that Ji Xiao book pavilion has let this young man down. The surrounding people also began to change sides and sympathize with Lin Yu. I think Jiao Xingshan is relying on his identity as a disciple of Raging Fire Temple and Jishao Book Pavilion. He's used to being tyrannical and doesn't care about people from small sects like us. In vain, we put in so much effort to celebrate the Imperial Preceptor's birthday, but the result is the same as this handsome young man. You saw it too. Yao Ge half-squatted. Bad guy, what are you doing? So embarrassing. She knew very well that Lin Yu should be thanking the heavens if he didn't injure Jiao Shan, a rookie who had just stepped into the unbreakable realm. How could he be beaten to the ground by the other party? However, before Lin Yu could answer, a few women immediately came forward to support him. Young master, are you all right? Jishao Book Pavilion is too much of a bully. Looking at these women's attire, they also came from small sections. At this moment, they naturally felt the same way about Lin Yu's unfair treatment. Seeing these people supporting him, Lin Yu immediately shook off Yao Ji's hand. He stood up with the help of these people's lovely bodies. Yao Ge was so angry that her face turned red. Pervert. Scumbag. She cursed in her heart, but there was nothing she could do to Lin Yu. Now, this guy was the focus of everyone's attention. Even Li Yi and the 3 sect masters had their eyes on Lin Yu. Moreover, there were hundreds of sects who came to celebrate the birthday watching. I won't die yet. Thank you, sisters. Lin Yu opened his mouth and said with great difficulty. The moment he finished speaking, his legs went limp and he lay on top of one of the women. Is this how Jishao Book Pavilion treats small sects like us? That's right. We came to celebrate the birthday with good intentions, but in the end, our gifts were casually thrown away without even looking at them. Now, you even heard us. I think Jishao Book Pavilion is capable but not virtuous. They don't deserve the title of Imperial Preceptor. Resentment rose from all sides. In an instant, Jiao Shan's face turned red. He gritted his teeth and stared at Lin Yu, but there was nothing he could do. I didn't hurt him. He roared in his heart, but he couldn't even say a word. Now, Jiao Shan was even more aggrieved than Jiang Sun, who was kneeling on the ground and begging for mercy. Shan, step back. Lia's voice was no longer as peaceful as before. Instead, it was a little colder. Jiao Shan was about to explain, but he saw Yin Tian give him a look that told him to shut up. He could only swallow his words. Young brother, it's Jishao Book Pavilion's fault for not treating guests well. This old man apologizes to you. Li walked in front of Lin Yu and said with a smile. When everyone heard this, they all gasped. The respected Imperial Preceptor, Li Yi, personally apologized to a 15 or 16-year-old boy. If this were to spread out, it would be terrible. Young brother, you're injured. Please rest in the inner hall. This old man will heal you personally. Li Yi said with sincerity. After hearing this, the entire place exploded again. The Imperial Preceptor is going to heal a transcendent realm boy. Oh my God. If he can comprehend the Imperial Preceptor's supreme power, he might be able to obtain some good fortune. Everyone started to envy Lin Yu. Only Lin Yu knew that this old man had seen through something. Then, I'll have to trouble the Imperial Preceptor. Lin Yu bowed shyly. Seeing this, the others also felt that Lin Yu's agreement was reasonable. If the Imperial Preceptor apologized and continued to cause trouble, it would seem that Lin Yu was in the wrong. Then, please follow this old man. Li Yi raised his hand and led Lin Yu into the inner hall. The rest of you, please continue with the banquet. Don't disturb everyone's mood. Li Yi smiled. Lin Yu also glanced at Yao Ge. Wait for me here. Okay. Yao Ge nodded obediently and said softly, will you be okay? She obviously felt that the Imperial Preceptor saw through Lin Yu's act. No, you protect yourself and wait for me to come out. Lin Yu left the sentence and entered the inner hall with the Imperial Preceptor. Hearing this sentence, Yao Ge only felt warmth in her heart. Her heart was thumping. Lin Yu's words had the gentleness of a husband telling his wife. Chapter 177. At this moment, Yin Tian, Xiao Mo, and Shun Suyi looked at each other. Yin Tian's expression wasn't good. Where did this kid come from? Have the two of you seen him before? Xiao Mo and Shun Sui shook their heads at the same time. Palace Master Yin actually cares about a transcendent realm brat. How rare. Xiao Mo said with a faint smile. Yin Tian snorted and didn't say anything else. If he were to emphasize it again, this transcendent realm brat had slapped Jiu Xingshan's face twice. Even Yin Tian himself felt embarrassed. Palace Master, I want to kill him. Jiu Xingshan returned behind Yin Tian. Investigate this kid's background first. He's not simple. Yin Tian was more stable than Jiu Xingshan. Of course, he could tell how powerful Lin Yu was. If he wasn't powerful, Jiang Sun wouldn't be kneeling on the ground, not daring to get up. From a person that everyone wanted to curry favor with, to a fool that was waiting for the Emperor's preceptor to punish. All of this was caused by this kid. It's over. I'm dead. But now, Hong Tian's entire back was drenched in sweat. Of course, he knew that the Sacred Heart pills cracking wasn't Jiang Sun's fault, but his. Once Lin Yu said this, Hong Tian knew that he was dead. His legs were weak. If he knew that Lin Yu had given him such a precious item, he wouldn't have dared to instigate the guards to crack open the Sacred Heart pill. Just when Hong Tian was thinking about how to prepare for his death, Lin Yu and Li Yi had already entered the inner hall. Little brother, how do you want me to punish Jiang Sun or Jiu Xingshan? Only the two of them were left. Li Yi's voice became more direct, without the euphemism he had in front of everyone. After listening, Lin Yu stretched his waist. He didn't look like he was injured at all. If the Emperor's preceptor thinks that those two are worthy of me dealing with, then he's underestimating Lin Yu. Lin Yu? Li stroked his white beard. His mind was frantically thinking, but he still hadn't heard of Lin Yu's name. You're not from the outer region, right? Of course not. Lin Yu said, truthfully, today is the Imperial Tutor's birthday. I will not beat around the bush. I hope to gain the recognition of Jixia Library. You want to establish a sect? For Li Yi to be able to become the Imperial Preceptor, of course, he had his own strengths. Lin Yu nodded. Seeing this, Li Yi smiled kindly. A Sacred Heart pill, this old master is willing to agree to this request. What a pity. Unfortunately, this pill only has 40% of its medicinal strength left. Lin Yu spoke first. It seems that you're very clear. Then why did you cut off the medicinal pill? Li Yu was puzzled and said, this pill was cut by a sharp weapon, and the cut is still there. It wasn't Jiang Sun who broke it. This old man's eyes aren't that dim. Lin Yu raised his eyebrows and smiled. But it was indeed broken because of Jixia Library. Li Yu was a bit angry. Can you elaborate? With the Imperial Tutor's ability, you will naturally understand this matter in the future. Lin Yu smiled. He was too lazy to explain too much. In addition to recognition, I also hope that Jixia Library can be my sect's backer. If the Imperial Tutor agrees, 10 Sacred Heart pills won't be difficult. Are you serious? Li Yi's eyes widened, and for the first time, he lost his composure. In the outer region of the Imperial Gate, there shouldn't be anyone stupid enough to deceive you, right? Lin Yu smiled and said truthfully. In the outer region, Jixia Library was considered top existence. It was responsible for transporting emperors to the inner region and core star zones. It was like a hub between the outer and inner regions. It's good that you know. Li seemed to be warning Lin Yu, but his eyes were filled with admiration. You're the youngest person who can negotiate with me. Lin Yu's emotions did not fluctuate. If this was the case, others might be grateful to him. However, in the 100,000 years he had been trapped, he had relied on the secrets he knew to deceive too many big shots and heard too many such words. It seems that the Imperial Tutor has agreed. Lin Yu smiled. Li also nodded. If I didn't agree, wouldn't it be a waste of your opportunity to exchange for this 60% medicinal power? Li Yi continued. With your courage and strategy, if you had shown the Sacred Heart pills at the beginning, I'm sure that my blind servants wouldn't have dared to make things difficult for you. But you didn't. Instead, you let the people of Jixia Library eat a dead cat for me. I couldn't resist at all. Boy, you're provoking the gods. After hearing this, Lin Yu was not in a hurry. He casually found a seat and sat down. If I didn't do this, how would the Imperial Tutor know the feeling of heartache? You wouldn't have easily believed that I could give you 10 Sacred Heart pills. Li nodded and smiled. Of course, if you can easily destroy half a pill, you naturally have the ability to refine more Sacred Heart pills. I agree to your request. In the future, your sect will be under my protection. Lin Yu clasped his fists and smiled. Li Yi still reminded him. As for the others, I may not be able to guarantee their actions. I can only guarantee that you'll be absolutely safe in Jixiao Library. Lin Yu knew very well that Li Yi was referring to Jiuxing Mountain's actions today and the people of Raging Fire Temple. Lin Yu knows what to do. I'll take my leave first. After hearing this, Li Yi was a little uncertain. When will your sect be established? Well, Lin Yu touched his chin. When I find another high-level sect to approve, it should be about time. After saying that, he waved his sleeves and left the inner hall. Li Yi frowned slightly. Where did this boy come from? It turns out that he hasn't even taken a step towards joining a sect yet. He touched the broken Sacred Heart pills in his hand. Obviously, he was anxious to get his 10 pills. After leaving the inner hall, Yao Gu immediately came up to him. Is everything all right? She sized up Lin Yu, afraid that Li Yi, a Grand Supreme expert, would do something to Lin Yu. Back then, Lin Yu was able to defeat Xiao Tiandi because of the Four Swords 5 ultimate god-killing array. Under normal circumstances, Yao Gu was worried that Lin Yu would not be a match for a Grand Supreme. Are you that concerned about me? Lin Yu grabbed Yao Ji's slightly thin chin and smiled. However, he saw a jealous gaze from the corner of his eyes. Lin Yu smiled. This boy was really lecherous. Looks like my brother has caught someone's eye. Yao Gu narrowed her eyes and snorted softly. Of course, she knew who Lin Yu was talking about. I don't like that yellow-haired brat. She glanced at Jiuxing Shan. Lin Yu frowned and smiled. He seems to be older than me. Then what kind of brat am I? You're a big bad guy. How can it be the same? Yao Gu said coquettishly. When Jiuxing Shan saw this scene, the jealousy in his heart rose again. He came up to Lin Yu and smiled. I accidentally hurt you just now. I wonder how your injuries are after Master's treatment. Let's see how you can continue pretending. Jiuxing Shan thought that once there was a flaw, he could find a chance to kill Lin Yu. However, Lin Yu had already achieved his goal and did not want to waste time with him. You think you can hurt me? Jiuxing Shan heard this and was furious. However, he saw Lin Yu about to leave with Yao Gu. Stop right there. Chapter 178. What's wrong? Lin Yu didn't even bother to turn his head. Damn, you're looking down on me. Jiuxing Shan had never met such an arrogant person before. He took a step forward, and with his invincible realm cultivation in his hand, his figure instantly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already in front of Lin Yu, and his palms struck down. Unlike before when not many people were paying attention to them, Jiuxing Shan couldn't help but want to kill Lin Yu. Boom! Lin Yu also struck out with his palm. 3 elements combined into one, and 8 parts of the Great Void were contained within. Jiuxing Shan thought that he would be instantly killed, but it didn't happen. Instead, he felt a sharp pain in his hand. At this moment, his battle physique, cultivation technique, and spiritual sense were all suppressed at the same time. Even if he was still suppressing Lin Yu in terms of cultivation, the other 3 aspects were all defeated. Jiuxing Shan retreated a dozen steps and barely managed to stabilize his body. However, his right hand was trembling because of the sharp pain. My hand bone is broken. Jiuxing Shan's pupils dilated. He never thought that he wouldn't be able to withstand a single attack from this transcendent realm fellow. Jiuxing Shan, he's my guest. Jiuxing Shan suffered a great loss, but Li Ye's voice came from behind him. Is this how I taught you to treat your guest? Li Yi stared at Jiuxing Shan and was clearly furious. This was the second time Jiuxing Shan attacked. Today was Li Ye's birthday, a birthday that was supposed to be peaceful. Emperor's teacher, Xing Shan, is still young and impetuous. It must be because that brat was rude to Jixiao Library, so he decided to teach that brat a lesson out of filial piety. Yin Tian immediately came out to mediate the situation, and his back was covered in cold sweat. What the hell? He was afraid that Jiu Shan would kill Lin Yu with his palm strike just now, and it wouldn't be easy to explain. However, Lin Yu was calm now, while Jiu Shan's forehead was sweating profusely. The invincible realm Jiu Shan was at a disadvantage. Li Yi snorted and cupped his fists towards Lin Yu. Forgive me, little friend Lin Yu. It's my fault for not teaching you properly. Seeing this, the hearts of the three house leaders and Jiu Shan tightened again. When did Lin Yu change from a little brother to a little friend? The imperial preceptor actually treated this kid as a friend? Even Xiang Ji's eyes widened. Just as she was about to ask Lin Yu, she heard Lin Yu chuckle. Just this once. With that, he stepped forward and left Ji Xiao Library under everyone's gaze. Everyone gasped, except for Hong Tian and Jiang Sun, who heaved a sigh of relief. Alive, he's alive. The two of them thought at the same time. Li Ye's face darkened. Even though Jiu Shan was his disciple, he couldn't punish him in front of the raging fire temple and so many people. As for the other two, it was hard to say. It seems like the Grand Miscontinent's little holy king, young Master Lin of the Southern 8 great families, has won again. Xianga looked at Lin Yu with admiration. This guy could really hold his own in any situation. You can say that. Lin Yu knew that this was only the first step to achieve his goal. Now, I have to find another high-ranked sect and meet up with them. Xianga smiled faintly. I feel like I can help you. Should I go find them first? Lin Yu knew that this woman was playing hard to get. Are you really willing to leave? Lin Yu asked faintly. Xianga met his gaze. Are you willing to let me go? Lin Yu didn't answer, but Xianga said, I think you're willing to. You're not even willing to share the process of persuading Li Yi with me. How can I share it in front of so many people? After Lin Yu finished speaking, he and Xianga found an inn to stay in. Aren't we leaving? I'm afraid that the Raging Fire Temple will find trouble with us. Xianga was still a little worried. She felt that they should be careful when they were outside. Lin Yu shook his head and smiled. There's no place safer than Jixia Book Pavilion. Even if the Raging Fire Temple has the guts, they won't dare to touch us under Li Ye's nose. The two chatted until midnight. Xianga returned to her room and fell asleep. Lin Yu didn't keep her. Instead, he took advantage of the time to settle down and meditate cross-legged. Now, his cultivation, battle physique, and spiritual will had reached the transcendent realm. The three elements were combined into one. The difficulty was more difficult than any cultivation method. This was because the stronger the origin of any force, the stronger the rejection between the two forces. If the three forces were to lose balance in a body, Lin Yu's body would be a battlefield of forces. I can easily cultivate other martial techniques, but the Great Void 8 parts is a magical power after all. It's more difficult than I imagined. No wonder only a handful of people have been able to cultivate it since ancient times. Lin Yu activated the Great Void 8 parts. When he was in the Samsara realm, the Great Void 8 parts was enough to kill any transcendent realm expert. But in the end, it was still far from the complete form of the Great Void Dragon transformation. Dragon Claw, Dragon Roar, Dragon Form, Dragon Transformation. With my current cultivation, I can at most reach the Dragon Roar. If I want to reach the Dragon Transformation, my three elements are combined into one, must at least reach the Grand Supreme Realm. Lin Yu was a little helpless, but there was no other way. More haste, less speed. 4 hours later, Lin Yu finished his cultivation and was about to go to bed when suddenly, outside of the inn, a stream of cold obsidian chi broke through the wind and approached Lin Yu in an instant. He didn't move. The aura was 2 inches away from Lin Yu. It didn't go any further and suddenly dissipated. Immediately after, a beautiful figure appeared in Lin Yu's room. Can this person really withstand Jiu Shan's palm? The beautiful figure was dressed in white. Under the moonlight, her peerless appearance could be vaguely seen. At this moment, she was like a fairy under the moonlight, standing beside Lin Yu's bed. His alertness is too low. Although his aura is stable, it's only the yang attribute aura of a transcendent realm expert. There's nothing special about it. The woman was a little disappointed. She sighed and shook her head, but she still didn't give up. most of the rumors are false. But Jiao Shan went into seclusion after exchanging a palm with you. There should be something wrong. Check your dantian, and you'll know if it's true or false." As she spoke, she raised her right hand. Aura seeped out from her jade-like fingers. She was prepared to touch Lin Yu's dantian and check it out. But when her fingers touched Lin Yu's abdomen, she suddenly felt a terrifying suction force. It sucked in all the aura from her fingers. Oh no! The woman's expression changed. She didn't expect Lin Yu to have such strength. "Is it fun?" Lin Yu slowly opened his eyes, and his cold voice sounded. "You're pretending to be asleep." The woman was shocked. But her fingers were sucked in by the golden vortex in Lin Yu's abdomen. She couldn't pull her fingers away. "Miss Tang Xin, you came to look for me in the middle of the night. Don't you know that it's easy to misunderstand a man and a woman alone?" The woman was shocked again. But at this moment, the suction force from Lin Yu's abdomen disappeared. She immediately retreated as if she was relieved of a heavy burden. "This man isn't simple. How do you know who I am?" This woman was Li Ye's second closed-door disciple. She was also from the dragon sealing city of the 9 luminaries, Tang Xin. "Not only do I know your name." Lin Yu sat up. If he didn't take the initiative to release it, the Nirvana fruit suction force would have sucked all of Tang Xion's belongings over. "I also know that you're 17 years old this year. You used to be from the Emperor-ranked Tang family. Your upper body is—" "Shut up." Tang Xion's expression changed. "Who are you?" "Ridiculous." Lin Yu stood up and walked in front of her. "You're the one who came to look for me. Why are you asking me who I am?" Chapter 179. I heard that someone made Jiao Mountain suffer a loss today, so I came here out of curiosity. Curious? And then, let's see what you're capable of. Tang Xin raised her right hand, and 3 waves of energy shot through the air, causing the temperature in the room to plummet. As the attack approached, Lin Yu raised his palm. His yang qi, blood qi, and divine thoughts merged perfectly. In an instant, the light of Buddha's karma and Tao flashed past. Under his palm, Tang Xion's frosty qi force was broken into pieces. Tang Xion immediately took a few steps back, her face solemn. "I'm done testing. If you have something to say, say it. I want to sleep." Lin Yu said impatiently. "I'm sorry for being rude." Tang Xion cupped her fists, and her tone was much more polite. "Tang Xion was testing you because I need your help." The Arch Battle. Have you guessed it?" Lin Yu smiled. Other than the upcoming The Arch Battle, what else could make Miss Tang Xion look for a man in the middle of the night? Tang Xion frowned. At first, she was worried that this young man wasn't capable enough. But now, she was more worried that she couldn't control him. "As long as you promise to help me win the Arch Battle, I can give you any condition." "Any condition?" Lin Yu looked at Tang Xion's slender waist and long legs. She immediately covered her front. "My body can't." "Don't worry, I'm not interested in your body." Lin Yu smiled faintly. He remembered that this woman's reaction was still not open, and he used to think that she was very ordinary. "First, tell me why you need my help." After hearing this, Tang Xion did not hide anything. She clasped her fists and said, "You have the ability to do so. Moreover, you had a conflict with Jishao Library today. This is something that half of the people in the outer regions know about. So, the enemy of my enemy is my friend." Lin Yu finished for her. Tang Xion nodded in agreement. "That's right. The only thing I was worried about was whether you were exaggerating. But after testing you, I found out that I didn't recognize Mount Tai." Her words were sincere and humble, without the arrogance of the Imperial Preceptor's 3rd disciple. In Lin Yu's eyes, there was a huge difference between Tang Xion and Jiao Shan. "Your Excellency, I don't know if you can accept my challenge. To tell you the truth, the leader of the dragon sealing city of the 9 luminaries, Xiao Mo, is extremely strong, but among his disciples, only Tang Xion has broken through to the unconquerable layer. That's why no one in Dragon Sealing City can help you. As for Jiao Mountain, they're the 9 sons of raging flames, Qing, an expert from the Emperor's sect." Tang Xion's eyes were lonely. It's not easy to find a capable and trustworthy helper. Imperial Prince, I can help you, but I have a request. Lin Yu didn't beat around the bush. With the 9 luminaries dragon sealing city's sole disciple coming to find him, it saved him a lot of time and effort to find a high-level sect. Sir Lin, please speak. I want the approval of the new sect of the 9 luminaries dragon sealing city. I also want the 9 luminaries dragon sealing city to become my new sect's backer. Tang Xin furrowed her brows. Although it wasn't a big deal to start a new sect, it wasn't something she could decide on. I might need to ask Master about this. No, I want you to agree right now. Sir Lin, I still need Master's approval. Lin Yu ignored her. Then, Miss Tang, please do as you wish. Sir, seeing Lin Yu's resolute look, Tang Xin fell into a dilemma. She was afraid that she would lose such a powerful helper if she didn't agree. This person could make her and Jiuxing Mountain suffer losses. If she lost him, he might even be invited by the Raging Fire Temple or the Emperor's sect. Then, she would definitely lose this Imperial Prince battle. Tang Xin sighed. Okay, I'll think of a way to make Master agree. Deal. Lin Yu glanced at her, then covered himself with the blanket and went to sleep. Seeing this, Tang Xin finally let out a sigh of relief. She cupped her fists and said, I hope Sir Lin will keep his promise. When the time comes, Tang Xin will wait for you at the entrance of the demonic beast forest. The location of the Imperial Prince battle was the demonic beast forest. However, very few people knew the exact location of the demonic beast forest. Sure, Lin Yu said lightly. Hearing this, Tang Xin quietly flew out of the inn's window. Come in. After Tang Xin left, Lin Yu's voice echoed in the room. The door gradually opened. I thought someone would sneak an attack on you. I didn't expect a little beauty to come knocking on my door. Yao Gu said unhappily. You made me worry for nothing. Lin Yu smiled gently. How do you know she didn't sneak an attack on me? If she did, would you let her go so easily? Lin Yu shook his head helplessly. She's very useful to me. He was naturally referring to the establishment of the new sect. However, Yao Gu had a different feeling in her heart. I feel like I'm the most useless. She hung her head dejectedly, and Lin Yu pulled her over. What are you doing? Sleep with me. Saying this, he directly pressed Yao Gu down. Bastard, your little beauty might not have gone far. What are you thinking? Lin Yu was a little helpless. Women nowadays really like to let their imaginations run wild. Saying this, he also lay flat on the bed. I'm a vegetarian. I don't do those dirty things. Hearing this, Yao Gu turned her head, her jade back facing Lin Yu. However, she saw Lin Yu's wristband around her waist. Yao Ji's heartbeat quickened. However, Lin Yu smelled the fragrance of Yao Ji's hair and gradually fell asleep. He didn't see that on the other side, Yao Ji's snow-white face was now as red as blood. In front of a teleportation array on Jixia Book Island, Tang Xion's figure appeared. However, the moment she appeared, she felt something sweet in her throat and spat out a mouthful of blood. Did that kid hurt you? Beside the teleportation array, Xiao Mo came forward in shock. Tang Xion raised her hand and shook her head. No, when I was testing him, I was hit by his power. Xiao Mo's old face was filled with shock. Sure enough, I didn't see wrongly during the day. That kid really did beat Jiuxing Shan. No wonder he could hurt you. Finally, he's on our side. Tang Xin wiped away the blood at the corner of her mouth. I've never seen such a powerful person. He's only in the Yang attribute, and he's only in the transcendent realm. However, I can't even withstand a single attack from him. Luckily, he's not my enemy. Tang Xin rejoiced in her heart. Xiao Mo nodded as well. He agreed? What are his conditions? He wants the dragon sealing city of the 9 luminaries to recognize his new sect and be his backer. Xiao Mo immediately asked. He wants to establish his own sect? That kid isn't old, but his ambition isn't small. However, it seems like he does have the ability to do so. Master, please forgive me. Tang Xin bowed apologetically. I agreed to Lin Yu's conditions without your permission. It's because young Master Lin's aura is too strong. He seems to be confident that I'll agree. Disciple. It's fine. Xiao Mo raised his hand and looked in Lin Yu's direction. Perhaps that kid has guessed that I was the one behind the cooperation. Who knows? Chapter 180. Tang Xin finally understood. If Lin Yu had guessed that her master had asked her to work with him, then Lin Yu's confidence made sense. You have to recuperate well, since Lin Yu has agreed, and even the royal tutor has to be courteous to him. Then he must be a trustworthy person. Xiao Mo concluded and brought Tang Xin into the teleportation circle. The next day, Lin Yu stretched his body and got out of bed. Beside him, Yao Gu had already gotten up and dressed. You're the third woman that I can still see when I get out of bed. Lin Yu blurted out. As far as he could remember, Qin Yi and Yang Qing were the only two people who had accompanied him 2 days before he escaped from the prison. After that, all the women left before he got out of bed. But Lin Yu's casual words made Yao Ji's heart skip a beat. The comb in her hand hung in the middle of her hair, and she did not move for a long time. I'm the third one that you can see. Who knows how many more you can't see? This guy has so many women. Yao Gu felt uncomfortable, but she did not show it on her face. You're such an excellent man. How can a woman leave you? Before she could finish her sentence, Lin Yu had already opened the door. Where are you going, sir? Yao Gu did not understand. Didn't Lin Yu say that this was the safest place yesterday? Come with me to a fun place. Yao Gu bit her lower lip when she heard that. He walked with Lin Yu, but he felt a little wronged in his heart. After leaving Jixiao Library Island, Yao Gu and Lin Yu boarded the rented warship. Where are we going? Cold Moon Palace. Is it also a high-tier sect? Yao Gu thought that Lin Yu was going to seek the recognition of a high-tier sect. No, a low-tier sect. Lin Yu knew what she meant and explained. As for the recognition of the high-level sects, I have already reached an agreement with the 9 Luminaries Dragon Sealing City yesterday. However, to truly complete it, it will take some time. Xianggu was overjoyed and asked, Then why are we going to the Cold Moon Palace? I'm going to do him a favor, and at the same time, prepare for me to step into the invincible realm. Lin Yu stood at the bow of the ship, looking at the starry sky storm that was blowing towards them. So fast, Xianggu was surprised. Didn't this guy just enter the transcendent realm, One Yang realm? However, she then recalled that Lin Yu had even condensed a Grand Supreme stage golden body. Now that Lin Yu was preparing for the unbreakable realm, it was normal. After all, this young man's cultivation path seemed to be in front of everyone. The battleship shuttled through space. Lin Yu knew that Yao Gu had already seen his secret, so he didn't waste any more time. He used a hidden teleportation formation and directly entered Cold Moon Palace's territory. How many more of these starry sky teleportation arrays does young master know? Xianggu couldn't help but ask. If she knew about such a hidden teleportation formation like Lin Yu, wouldn't it mean that she could travel to any place in the universe at any time? Not much, Lin Yu thought in his heart. It was only slightly more than 3 million. Their battleship had already descended from the sky above Cold Moon Palace. It was a small town. Behind the small town, there were 9 huge mountain ranges. The mountain ranges were higher than the small town. Therefore, when Xianggu raised her head, she could see 9 mountain ranges that seemed to be overlooking the earth. The reason why there were 9 mountains was because there were 9 icebergs arranged on the mountain ranges. Is that where Cold Moon Palace is? Xianggu asked. Lin Yu nodded. She felt that something was amiss. Why do I feel that the aura of these 9 icebergs isn't any weaker than Jixiao Library? Is this really a low-level sect? Lin Yu nodded. Many years ago, this was the strongest high-level sect in the outer region. It's a pity that it has declined. After speaking, the two entered the small town that was attached to Cold Moon Palace. After passing through this place, they would be able to enter the 9 icebergs where Cold Moon Palace was located. However, as soon as the two stepped in, they heard a commotion. Behind them, a palanquin rushed out. Get lost! In front of the palanquin, there were 2 people opening the way. They were about to collide with Lin Yu and Xianggu. I told you to get lost. Don't you have eyes? You're courting death. Seeing that Lin Yu ignored him, That person raised his hand. A mere one-sun transcendent realm dares to block the way. Everyone looked over and jumped in fright. How could dare someone block the palanquin of the Raging Fire Temple? Why are there so many palanquins of the Raging Fire Temple today? This is already the 8th palanquin. I heard that the 8th of the Raging Fire Nine Sons is going to marry a female disciple of Cold Moon Palace. Aren't they all here to attend the wedding? I see. That brat looks unfamiliar. He dares to block the path of the Raging Fire Nine Sons? Seeing that the expert in front of the palanquin was about to slap Lin Yu, a shout suddenly came from the crowd. Stop! In the next moment, a green figure leaped up and slapped the expert in front of the palanquin. The other party paused and slapped both palms together. Glorious aura exploded, and everyone retreated. Of course, Lin Yu could hear these voices. However, in his opinion, an opponent of this level didn't even make him want to make a move. Did you hear that? They are from the Raging Fire Temple. Xianggu reminded Lin Yu. Ignore them. Lin Yu didn't look at the palanquin at all. Just as they were about to leave, a voice came from behind Lin Yu. Two of you. After hearing that, Lin Yu and Xianggu turned around. They saw a man in green with a green hat and blood spurting out of his mouth. He was standing 10 feet behind Lin Yu. Xianggu was shocked. Who are you? Who am I? I'm the one who just saved you. The man in green wanted to die. He had drawn his sword to help them, but these two were just chatting. I am the 7th saint of the fighting sect. As soon as the man in green finished speaking, everyone gasped. The 7th saint of the fighting sect. He is the famous 7th saint of the fighting sect. The two strongest sects among the low-level sects are the Cold Moon Palace behind us and the fighting sect. There was a lot of discussion around. The man in green coughed and wiped the blood from his mouth. I am one of the 7 saints of the fighting sect, a disciple of the Heavenly Academy under Shensi Hai, Qing Chao Lu. Hearing that, the surrounding people were silent for a long time. Then, so it turns out that you're just a little disciple. Qing Chao Lu's face turned green. He smiled as if he had cramps and couldn't be bothered with the people around him. He saluted Lin Yu and said, Brother, the people of the Raging Fire Temple are used to being tyrannical. It's dangerous here. You should leave first. Dangerous? Lin Yu didn't understand and looked at Xianggu. Xianggu also shook her head. Lin Yu wasn't afraid of the Raging Fire Temple, so she wasn't afraid either. How dare you block the Raging Fire Temple's sedan? Don't even think about leaving. In front of the sedan, the two men's cultivations erupted and directly grabbed at Qing Chao Lu and Lin Yu. Barging around in broad daylight. What if you bump into someone? How dare you hurt someone now? Don't blame me. Before Qing Chao Lu could finish his words, he was hit by a palm and flew 3 feet away. Chapter 181. You talk too much. The man who sent him flying sneered. His transcendent realm, 3 suns cultivation erupted and kicked towards Grass. I don't mean any harm. I just want to let you know where you went wrong. Grass's mouth was full of blood. She protected her front with her arms and took the kick head on. She was sent flying again. Seeing that Grass was dealt with, the other master attacked Lin Yu and Yao Gu at the same time. I can't believe I met such a beautiful woman. The other party swallowed his saliva. The moment he saw Yao Gu, he had already made up his mind. Not only did he want to teach these 2 dogs a lesson, but he also wanted to snatch this beauty. Yao Gu wanted to attack, but she saw Lin Yu's expressionless face. He swung his right hand, and the transcendent realm master who attacked them suddenly felt a sharp pain in his battle physique. His heart stopped beating. In the next moment, his battle physique exploded in front of everyone. Only a pool of blood was left on the ground. The other party died before he could even make an expression. This scene happened too quickly. Everyone couldn't react in time. On the contrary, Grass stabilized her body. A glory energy flying knife condensed in her palm and shot toward the other transcendent realm master from Raging Fire Temple. However, the flying knife speed was too slow, and its power was weak. It was easily dodged. The other party's 5 fingers formed a claw and grabbed towards Grass. "Where do you think you're going?" The other party roared. Grass wanted to retreat, but suddenly she felt someone's palm pressing against her back. A majestic glory energy was circulating in her arm. Immediately, a huge flying knife that was dozens of feet long rose from the ground. Around the street, a storm was stirred up. The moment the air blade was formed, it shot out. The Raging Fire Temple's transcendent realm master couldn't react at all. He was crushed by the flying knife and turned into ashes. Grass widened her eyes. She saw that the flying knife didn't stop. It directly slashed past the palanquin. A crack appeared on the street of the town. In the end, the flying knife's remaining force hit the city. With a boom, the city seemed to be reinforced by an array. The flying knife couldn't penetrate it and finally dissipated. So terrifying. The Seventh Saint's disciple is so powerful. The Dozong's disciple is so powerful. It seems like the Dozong has the potential to become a high-level sect. Her right hand was numb, and her meridians ached all over. It was as if his body had suffered a power that it shouldn't have. He came back to his senses and turned around to see Lin Yu withdrawing his hand. "Brother, was it you who borrowed my glory aura just now?" "Sort of," Lin Yu replied indifferently. He had only used 30% of his glory chi. If he had used any more, the green arm would not have been able to withstand it and would have exploded. The green grass sucked in a breath of cold air. "There's also a palanquin." Lin Yu looked at the palanquin in the middle of the street. Now, there was only a feeling of loneliness. Where was the domineering aura from before? "Let's just kill him," Lin Yu's voice sounded. The onlookers on the street were so scared that they retreated to both sides. After saying that, Lin Yu raised his hand. However, Green Grass called out, "Brother, where it's possible to let people off, one should spare them. Just let the people inside live." Apparently, Green Grass was pleading with Lin Yu on behalf of the people in the palanquin. "But you almost died just now." Xianggu only felt that this green-clothed man was a little silly. "Just now, I thought you were in danger, so I intervened. Who knew that your cultivation level was so unfathomable? I was being nosy." Green Grass was certain that if he had not intervened, the two from Raging Fire Temple would have ended up the same way. He finally understood why the youth in front of him did not feel any danger. All right then. Lin Yu could not be bothered to look at the palanquin. He turned around and left with Xianggu. "Brother." Green Grass caught up. "I wonder which sect you are a personal disciple of to have such a cultivation level." The three of them disappeared into the crowd. In the palanquin, a red-haired man was trembling all over. He had wanted to rush out and teach Lin Yu and company a lesson. However, before he could lift the curtain, he clearly felt the terrifying glory aura flying knife slash past him. Just a little bit more, and it would have hit him. How terrifying. The red-haired man gulped. Almost died. He was certain that if he had gone out, he would have died. After a long silence, the red-haired man's voice softened. He said, "Go to Coal Moon Palace." 2 of his followers had died, so there should be 3 more. However, no one replied for a long time. The red-haired man carefully lifted the curtain of the palanquin and peeked outside. This group of bastards, when did they run away? Behind the town, at the foot of the ice mountain, Green Grass caught up. "Brother, are you here to participate in the marriage alliance?" Xianggu smiled with interest. "Is there a happy occasion today?" Green Grass's face was filled with envy and longing. "The 2 of you came at the right time. One of the 3 palace masters of Cold Moon Palace, the female disciple of Palace Master Chi Yao, is currently engaged in a marriage alliance with Raging Fire Temple. It is also because of this that we have made an exception to receive male guests. Otherwise, Cold Moon Palace does not allow men to enter. I believe that the person in the palanquin that you taught a lesson to is also someone sent by Raging Fire Temple to participate in the marriage alliance." "Marriage alliance? Shall we go and take a look?" Xianggu pulled Lin Yu's arm and asked. The latter looked at this beauty with great interest. Could it be that she had been suppressed in the Wind Moon clan for too long? Why was this beauty so curious about such mundane matters. Let's go then. Lin Yu smiled and agreed. Anyway, he had to go to Cold Moon Palace to comprehend the cold aura. The 9 natural ice mountains here were the best place to cultivate the cold aura in advance. Lin Yu had comprehended the true meaning of cultivation during the 100,000 years that he was trapped. The so-called realm was not separated and looked at with an individual view. The cultivators in this world were all like this. In their eyes, the transcendent realm was the transcendent realm, and the invincible realm was the invincible realm. However, Lin Yu knew that the 9 Yang transcendence and the 9 Yin invincible were related. Under the situation where he had comprehended the Tao of Yin Yang in advance, his invincible realm would be more powerful and powerful than ordinary people. Thinking of this, Lin Yu brought Xiangge to the ice mountain, who knew that green grass would follow them again. What do you want? Xiangge asked. Why did this person keep following her and Lin Yu? Cough, miss, don't misunderstand. I'm also going to Cold Moon Palace. My girlfriend is Cold Moon Palace's Miss Shun Yinran. As she spoke, Green Grass's eyes were filled with happiness. Since we're going the same way, why don't I go up the mountain with the 2 of you? You're going to see your girlfriend dressed like this? Xiangge looked at Green Grass and asked, This is my best outfit. What do you think? Green Grass said confidently. Xiangji's face twitched. It's not bad. She almost laughed out loud. Miss, what's wrong with you? Green Grass was puzzled. She admires you too much. Lin Yu helped Xiangge answer. Brother, you like my outfit too? Then I can give you this outfit and hat. Just treat it as making friends. Green Grass said passionately. Without waiting for Lin Yu to answer, she took off her hat and put it on Lin Yu's head. Chapter 182. Chow. Brother Chow, you're too polite. Lin Yu shifted and dodged the hat. Let's go to Cold Moon Palace first. All right. Chow Lu put the hat back on. How should I address you? Yao Gu. Lin Yu. Along the way, Lin Yu and the rest arrived at Cold Moon Palace. Cold Moon Palace. This was a huge sect formed by 9 mountains. Each mountain was piled with pure white snow, and under the snow, one could see gorgeous ice palaces. 9 mountains and 9 ice palaces. This was the basic scale of Cold Moon Palace. At this moment, near the 7th mountain, there was a side palace that was open to the outside world. It was the only entrance that Cold Moon Palace could see that connected to the outside world. Outside the side palace, there were people coming and going. It was a festive scene. Lin Yu also arrived at the side palace under Chow Lu's lead. I'm a Dozone disciple. I heard that Cold Moon Palace and Raging Fire Temple are going to have a marriage alliance, so I'm here to see the world. Chow Lu smiled cheekily. The 2 female disciples at the door looked at each other and recognized Chow Lu. Get lost. Senior sister, Yinran won't change her mind. The 2 female disciples at the door said one after another. Chow Lu was stunned and still didn't react. She said softly, Sisters, I'm Chow Lu. I'll come a look for Yinran a few times before. Nonsense. We know you're a jinx. That's why we asked you to get lost. Today is the big day of senior sister Yinran and senior brother Shangyang from Raging Fire Temple. You can't steal the bride. Go back to your dozone. Yao Gu glanced at Lin Yu. Something must have happened this time. The big day of senior sister Yinran and senior brother Shangyang from Raging Fire Temple. Chow Lu felt as if she had been struck by lightning. She took a few steps back and her mind went blank. His girlfriend was someone else's marriage partner? Yinran is the one getting married today. Why? She promised to be my girlfriend. Why is she getting married to someone else? She's going to marry someone else without telling me anything. What should I do? Green Grass was at a loss and had difficulty breathing. When the 2 female disciples guarding the door saw Green Grass's agitation, a few guests looked over. Their eyes were filled with displeasure. One of the female disciples said, It's because your cultivation is only at the transcendent realm 3 suns. However, Mr. Shangyang is already at the transcendent realm 8 suns. Green Grass felt a stab of pain in her heart. She kept shaking her head. She couldn't believe that her lovely girlfriend, Shun Yinran, would treat her like this. Xianggu sighed as her eyes began to empathize with grassy grass. However, green grass heard the cold voice of another female disciple. You're just an insignificant disciple under the 7 holy sons of the Do Zone. But Mr. Shangyang is one of the 9 sons of the Raging Fire Temple. Who do you think senior sister Yanran will choose between the little disciple of a low-level sect and the 9 great successors of a high-level sect? The words of the 2 female disciples were like needles stabbing into her heart. All the vows he had made with Shun Yanran in the past now echoed in his mind, but they had all become a sad joke. Green grass retreated with a pale face. She wanted to leave. Xianggu also felt that this scene was too embarrassing for a man. She might as well leave early. Brother Grass, since you're here, let's go in and take a look. Lin Yu pulled her hand and said. Green grass regained her senses slightly. However, when she saw the 2 female disciples' disdainful expressions, she quickly shook her head. Brother Lin, I'm afraid we can't go in. However, Lin Yu ignored him and walked past the 2 female disciples, followed by Yao Ge. The 2 female disciples wanted to stop them, but their delicate bodies suddenly trembled. It was as if their spiritual senses had been shocked by something. They couldn't exert any strength to stop them, and allowed Lin Yu and the other 2 to walk past. Green grass was shocked. She didn't expect Lin Yu's spiritual sense to be so powerful. The 3 of them reached the inside of the side hall. There were many guests inside, and people dressed in all kinds of sect clothes mingled with each other. No one noticed Lin Yu and the other 2's arrival. Congratulations. The marriage between Cold Moon Palace and Raging Fire Temple will definitely be more powerful in the future. Xin Yanran is the disciple of Palace Master Qi Yao. She and young Master Shangyang are a match made in heaven. It is indeed worthy of celebration. I heard that Green Grass, a disciple of the Do Zone, had a relationship with Shun Yanran. Looking at Shun Yanran now, she doesn't look like she just fell out of love. Everyone was discussing whether they were congratulating or gossiping in private. Many people looked at the top of the side hall and saw a very good-looking girl. She was dressed in white with a few delicate red flowers embroidered on it. She stood there elegantly and coquettishly. There were many people in front of the girl who clasped their fists to congratulate her. She smiled generously and handled them with ease. The girl's mouth was full of love, and one could see that she was slightly excited. Obviously, she had been looking forward to this wedding banquet for a long time. Lin Yu looked on indifferently. He noticed that Green Grass's body trembled and her face was full of tears. He rubbed his chin. Have you slept with her or not? Lin Yu really couldn't remember this Shun Yanran, but she met his criteria and barely reached 8 points. Beside her, Yao Ge saw Green Grass and guessed that she was the female lead of today's wedding, Xin Yanran. Brother Lin, I'll take my leave first. Green Grass wanted to ask more, but seeing Shun Yanran's happy expression, she didn't need to ask anymore. You chose to escape today. In the future, even if you have many questions and unwillingness in your heart, you will have to face them alone. Lin Yu said softly. He saw that Green Grass was quite good, so he wanted to talk to her. When the latter heard Lin Yu's words, she stopped in her tracks and had an indescribable feeling in her heart. Lin Yu was right. Once she left today, everything would be set in stone. The next time they met, Shun Yanran would be Lady Shangyang. Then, Green Grass wouldn't be able to ask about the knot in her heart. Now, before the wedding, she might be able to ask for an explanation. Brother Lin, you're right. Brother Lin, where are you going? Green Grass just understood. When she turned around, she saw Yao Ge sitting obediently at a table in the corner. Lin Yu was nowhere to be seen. Miss Yao Ge, where did Brother Lin go? He's in a hurry to find his old flame. Yao Ge slowly drank the wedding wine on the table and pursed her lips. She was in a bad mood. Just now, Lin Yu had whispered in her ear that he wanted to go somewhere else. Needless to say, this guy had another acquaintance here. Thinking of this, Yao Ge finished the wine in her cup, but just as it reached her mouth, she spat it back into the cup. Green Grass was stunned. Miss Yao Ge, you's disgusting, Yao Ge said coldly. Grass knew that she was in a bad mood. She was obviously drunk. Could it be because Brother Lin went to find another woman? So, sigh, we're both in the same boat. Chapter 183. Grass shut her mouth and looked at the center of the hall from afar. Lady Shun is indeed as beautiful as a fairy. She's a match made in heaven with young Master Shangyang of the Blazing Nine Suns. Now, why don't I see young Master Shangyang? In the center of the hall, at the most eye-catching place, Xin Yanran was talking and laughing. She said gently, Shangyang and his senior brother Han Bin have something to discuss. They'll be back soon. Haha, young Master Shangyang is really busy. Yeah, even young Master Han Bin is here. He's really a distinguished guest. Everyone said in admiration. Grass could only sigh and lower her head when she saw this scene. Is young Master Shangyang very powerful? Xianggu asked when she saw Grass's inferior look. The Blazing Nine Suns of the Blazing Fire Temple are famous in the outer region of the Emperor's Gate. The Blazing Nine Suns of the Blazing Fire are all at the peak of the Transcendent Realm. They're all young prodigies, especially Jiuxing Shan. He's the strongest among the younger generation in the outer region. His master is Li Yi. He's the future emperor's disciple that will advance to the inner region's core. His future is limitless. If I can reach Jiuxing Shan's height, I'll have no regrets in this life. Grass's face was filled with envy and admiration. Xianggu blinked. Only then did she know that Jiuxing Shan, who was defeated by Lin Yu, was so powerful. Grass continued. The seventh son of the Blazing Fire, Shangyang, and the fifth son, Han Bin, are all top-notch figures in the outer region of the Emperor's Gate. What about you? Xianggu asked curiously. Sigh, my master is one of the seven saints of the Dozone. However, I've only learned 10 to 20% of what my master taught me. I can't compare to young Master Shangyang. Grass shook her head. She regretted not working hard in the beginning. Then, it's normal for your girlfriend to change men. Xianggu snorted. Lady Xianggu, Grass was very upset. Her heart was already bleeding. Now, she was stabbed by Xianggu. She took a deep breath and brewed her emotions. She stood up and prepared to ask Xin Yanran. But soon, Green Grass returned to her seat. Lady Xianggu, how do you think I should ask? Think. Behind the hall, Lin Yu looked around. In his memory, during the 100,000 years he was trapped, he vaguely heard that Raging Fire Temple Shangyang was plotting something against Cold Moon Woman Palace. Lin Yu was even more certain now that he was connected to today's marriage. If Shangyang is not in the front hall, he should be nearby. Let's go over there and take a look. Lin Yu spread out his divine perception and suddenly heard a scream. He shifted his body and took a detour before arriving in front of a room. The aura of the Raging Fire Temple's cultivation technique. Lin Yu observed his surroundings and came to a window. He didn't release his divine perception, as that would be easily detected. Instead, he used his obsidian chi to gently push open the window, revealing a small gap to look inside. It was two men discussing something. Both of them looked disheveled. Shangyang, is it really okay to kill her? This slut actually dared to reject me. She deserves to die. The other man looked down at the woman on the ground. She was lying on the ground, naked and motionless. He was one of the 9 sons of Raging Fire, Shangyang. He took 2 steps forward, kicked the woman on the ground, and turned her over to check if she was dead. Lin Yu could clearly see that the woman's body was covered in wounds. Her face was filled with fear, but she couldn't even close her eyes. She died with her eyes open. Seeing this, he knew that Raging Fire Temple had indeed set their sights on Cold Moon Woman Palace. He was right to come this time. Lin Yu suddenly used his divine perception to record everything he saw in his mind. Senior brother, don't worry. There are many people here today. No one knows that I did it. After hearing that, the blazing flame Nine Han Bin, who was in front of Shangyang, nodded and smiled. He seemed to be savoring the aftertaste as he said, the women of the Cold Moon Palace are pretty good. Thanks to Junior Brother, Senior Brother can be happy for once. Senior Brother, you're too polite. However, I spent so much time and finally tricked Shun Yinran into marrying me. In the future, it will be much more convenient for our raging fire temple to move around Cold Moon Woman Palace. Shang Yang said proudly, his eyes revealing a hint of evil. Senior brother, don't think that I was careless just now. In fact, I was saving some strength to deal with Shin Yinran tonight. This little beauty is very good looking. I wonder how she will perform tonight. Senior brother understands. Ha! Hanbin smiled awkwardly. Why are you explaining to me if you want to be fast? He put on his clothes. Cold Moon Woman Palace is just a group of women. In the future, I will trick a few more to become our people. At that time, the entire Cold Moon Woman Palace will be under our control. The temple master sent junior brother to pursue Shan Yinran. He was right. Hanbin smiled. Shin Yinran was born poor, and her martial talent is not high. She is more biased than the sky. What she wants is to climb up the social ladder. Our raging fire temple's name will naturally move her. Shang Yang smiled proudly. Of course, senior brother, you know how good I am with women. Hanbin nodded. Shin Yinran was originally Greengrass's girlfriend. This time, she was defeated by junior brother, which can be considered as a slap to the face of the low-level Dozong sect. It is rumored in the outer domain that Dozong sect has a strength to be promoted to a high-level sect. This time, I want to see how they can fight with our raging fire temple. What a joke, Greengrass is just a pussy. How can he compare with me? Shang Yang said as if he had found a treasure. Shun Yinran said that her virginity is still there. I know how useless Greengrass is. She really lives up to her name. She deserves to be cuckolded by me. Puffed. Outside the window, Lin Yu could not help but laugh. I thought I was bad enough, but now I can't compare with these two boys. Who is it? Hearing Lin Yu's voice, Shang Yang and Han Bin's hearts tightened, and they shouted in unison. Immediately, the two rushed out and saw Lin Yu standing there alone. Who are you? Shang Yang's eyes were full of killing intent. He clenched his fists and was ready to attack at any time. The marriage alliance that he had painstakingly planned was about to succeed. Now that his secret was exposed, he must not let this person leave alive. I have never seen this person in the outer domain. He has the aura of a transcendent realm One-Yang. It seems like he is from a low-level sect. Han Bin was meticulous. He had already judged everything about Lin Yu in a few breaths. Although Lin Yu blinked his eyes, he knew that this kid's judgment was wrong. But in Han Bin's hand, he was already holding a sword with a faint light. Shang Yang looked at Lin Yu as if he was looking at a dead person. It turns out that you are a nobody. That's simple. Boy, tell me your name before you die. What did you say? I don't understand the words of a beast. Lin Yu said and used his movement technique to escape. He was not afraid of being killed by the two sons of Raging Fire, but he was afraid that if he accidentally killed someone, it would be difficult to explain to Cold Moon Palace. He was a reasonable person. It was better to expose the crimes of the two sons of Raging Fire before killing them. Damn it, you still want to run? Shang Yang was about to chase after him, but he was stopped by Han Bin. This person's cultivation is not high. Leave him as senior brother. It's getting late. Go back to the side hall and prepare for the wedding. Shang Yang nodded and reminded. This person heard our secret. Senior brother, please make him shut up. Don't worry. I will make sure that trash of a One-Yang transcendent realm shut up forever. After saying that, Han Bin chased after Lin Yu. Behind the side hall, in an extremely secluded open space, Lin Yu had arrived a few minutes ago. He sat on a big rock, but Han Bin still did not catch up. Is my flying fairy shoes too fast? Chapter 184. Let's see where you can escape to. Lin Yu waited for a long time and finally saw Han Bin catching up. Lin Yu looked around. Why is it only you? I'm more than enough to kill you. Han Bin waved his sword. Lin Yu felt that it was a pity. He wanted to get rid of both of them at once. He wanted to make Cold Moon Palace owe him a favor. Now he had no choice but to go back and find Shang Yang. After all, that kid was the main culprit. Idiot! You dare to be absent-minded while fighting against the 9 Sons of Fire? Han Bin's transcendent realm, 8 Sons cultivation erupted. The long sword in his hand released a wave of sword aura that shot towards Lin Yu. But in the next moment, Han Bin's eyes widened. In front of him, a dragon claw appeared from the dark vortex and slammed towards him. Cold Moon Palace's 7th Palace Hall. Grass finally mustered up the courage to stand in front of Shun Yinran. Her voice was slightly hoarse. Yinran, are we really done? She really hoped that all of this was just a dream. But at this moment, Shang Yang returned. Seeing that Grass was still pestering Shun Yinran, Shang Yang was still angry because of Lin Yu. He directly vented his anger on Grass. A toad wants to eat swan meat. Get lost. Transcendent Realm 8 Suns aura erupted. Shang Yang's right foot was mixed with scorching yang aura fluctuations. He directly kicked Grass back. Grass fell to the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. Today was his home ground. Shang Yang originally wanted to kill Grass directly. Brother Yang, forget it. Shun Yinran pulled Shang Yang's hand. You're a dragon in the sky, and he's a worm on the ground. Don't bother with him. As soon as these words came out, everyone looked at Grass sympathetically. Sigh, this Grass is also a martial artist with some talent. But compared to Shang Yang, she's not good enough. What a pity. There's nothing to pity. Women naturally like strong men. Shun Yinran is no exception. If you want to blame someone, you can only blame Grass for being too weak. Go back to your dough zone. If I see you again, die. Shang Yang coldly snorted and was too lazy to bother with Grass. Shun Yinran knew what men were thinking and naturally understood that it was time for her to express her feelings. She walked up to Green Grass and looked down at her with a complicated gaze. Green Grass, you treat me very well, but I won't be happy with you. Yinran, what did I do wrong? Chao Lu shook her head and asked. She did not understand why Shun Yinran treated him like this. There was blood at the corner of his mouth. Just now, he only had eyes for Shun Yinran, so he was not prepared at all. Otherwise, he would not have been injured so badly. You didn't do anything wrong, but look at Brother Yang, then look at yourself. Don't you understand? There was some contempt in Shun Yinran's words. When these words fell into Grass's ears, it was like a knife stabbing into her chest. Hee, I thought you weren't such a woman. Green Grass suddenly laughed. This laughter was not directed at anyone else, but at itself. I thought that feelings were first come, first served, but it turns out that it's not the case. He's stronger than me, so no matter how much I give, even if I treat you as my true love, you won't even look at me in the eye, right? Shun Yinran, yes, no matter how good you treat me, you can't compare to young Master Shang Yang. Shun Yinran could not be bothered to look at him. Chase him out. Immediately, a few female disciples from Cold Moon Palace blocked Green Grass's path. Hurry up and leave. This is not a place for you to stay. Go back and cultivate. If you can be half as strong as young Master Shang Yang in your lifetime, perhaps Senior Sister Shin will take a second look at you. Don't embarrass yourself now. Seeing this, Green Grass did not need the female disciples to chase him out. He left dejectedly. When he passed by Yao Ji's table, he clasped his hands and said, Miss Yao Gu, please help me say goodbye to Brother Lin. I've asked clearly and should leave. With that, he walked to the door alone. Stop. Yao Gu tilted her chin with her right hand. Aren't you waiting for him to come back? Green Grass shook her head. I've lost enough face. At this moment, outside the side hall, a figure flew through the air and landed in front of Green Grass. If you've been slapped in the face, you have to learn how to slap it back. Brother Grass, I have a gift for you. Lin Yu's voice sounded. Green Grass was stunned, and her dispirited expression eased slightly. However, in the next moment, her eyes widened as she saw Lin Yu dragging. Han Bin. Brother Lin, this. Green Grass was shocked. The crowd also shifted their gazes from Green Grass to Lin Yu. Their mocking gazes immediately turned into shock. Han Bin, one of the 9 sons of the Raging Fire Temple. It's indeed young Master Han Bin, but why is he being held by that youth? Young Master Han Bin seems to be seriously injured. Could he have been saved by this youth? But since he saved the 9 sons of the raging fire temple, he probably wants some benefits. I'm curious. Young Master Hanbin is ranked 5th. Who could injure him? Hearing the discussions, Lin Yu felt that these people were really imaginative. He carried Hanbin and said to Green Grass, "So, do you want it?" Hanbin instinctively trembled. However, he could not utter a single word. The raging fire temple snatched your woman. This person is also one of the 9 sons of the raging fire temple. I'll give it to you. Lin Yu spoke again. 9 sons of the raging fire temple? Get it to you? Lin Yu's words were like thunder that exploded in Green Grass's mind. The latter looked at Lin Yu in a daze. He kicked Hanbin to Green Grass's feet as though he was carrying a lump of meat. What's going on? Didn't he save Hanbin? Did he beat Hanbin up and send him back? Boom! Bastard! How dare you hurt my senior brother? I'll take your life. Shang Yang's body was bathed in flames as 8 scorching yang qi gathered behind him. He took a step forward and charged towards Lin Yu. Lin Yu knew his secret, but why did Hanbin end up like this when he went to capture him? He must die. Shang Yang formed a seal with both hands as his yang qi transformed into 8 fire snakes. He stepped into the air as the fire snakes bared their fangs and stared at Lin Yu as though they were staring at their prey. Young Master Shang Yang is going to make a move? This kid is finished. He dared to publicly humiliate the 9 sons of blazing fire. No one can save him. Shen Yanran also recovered from Lin Yu's shocking appearance. Brother Yang, be careful. She did not look too worried. Shang Yang's cultivation was one of the top geniuses of the younger generation. He would definitely not disappoint her. Are you in a hurry to silence me? Lin Yu said calmly. He took a step forward with his right foot as his body burned with black flames that split into 8 and collided with the 8 fire snakes. Boom! 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 The fire snakes broke apart as the black flames gathered in front of Shang Yang and transformed into Lin Yu's appearance again. He raised his hand. Smack! The slap landed squarely on Shang Yang's face. Whoosh! Shang Yang fell to the ground. Xin Yanran was so frightened that her face turned pale. She quickly helped him up, but found that Shang Yang was severely injured. Yanran, this person bullied our blazing fire temple. Gather the disciples of Cold Moon Palace and kill him. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.